Welcome back to the Bits and Pixels podcast. Today we are on episode 6. Thank you so much for joining us. We are a podcast that talks about industry news, culture, and more. And I am your host, Brianna, and I have here with me my wonderful co-host, Kyle.
Hey, how's it going?
And Karlo.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry for the late start, the whole Filipino time thing, but Bree's cool, so we can do this, right, guys? Great.
Oh, we are like doing fantastic. I am really excited to be here again this week. I just get really amped up like every Thursday because I just get so excited to because this is like a cool hangout time for us, and then we get to chat with like all the people live. And honestly, every like snippet of news that we go over is really fun because I love keeping up with what you guys are seeing and talking through that. So this is a good time for me, even if we're a little late. This is great.
It's just a scheduled time for three friends to hang out and maybe record it and
see what happens. That's basically what this podcast is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's definitely been nice because a lot of you guys who are even watching it later on, like, it's just a really big appreciation because, the fact that you guys are interested in us and, we're just three different types of people from different areas who just like roughly the same weeaboo shenanigans and stuff like that. And you guys are willing to kind of just, check us out and watch us. So we do appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. And I speak for these two when I say it. Thank you very much for just for the support that you guys have thrown at us so far.
Definitely. Like right now, I was checking it out before we started like the actual stream itself, and currently we're at 34 followers here on Twitch. So we are 16 away from being able to start really working towards affiliate status, which is huge considering that this is only episode 6 and we haven't done any other like live streams outside of like this here.
Yeah.
Especially that's awesome.
Second month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. Really, that is crazy to me. So, we really do appreciate you all showing up here every time that we live stream, and then showing up to like our YouTube channel and listening to the podcast on all the podcast platforms. That's super nice. But we're here to talk about video games and anime, so we're gonna have a good time. Let's get into our catch up. How has everyone's week been going?
I would like to think it's been fine. I know it's a little bit hectic on my end, just shameless plug, if you're interested in collegiate esports, please talk to me. But aside from that, it's just a lot of trying to catch up with some of the games that I do personally, like you guys do, and then trying to see if I could read things and maybe get to do some watching, which I did surprisingly do amount. Do you guys mind if I go first, actually?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sweet. So I actually yesterday I kind of started getting back into it, which is kind of weird, but I have been playing a little bit more Smash as of late. I didn't actually wait for 2 weeks. I waited for 2 weeks this time around, and there's actually some pretty solid players over at the college I work at, and I gotta keep up on the game, so just making sure that I'm at least a competent player at best. Genshin as of course, gotta keep up on the Genshis. The funny great part shenanigans of that is I believe within the past week we've had the 2 events. So it's the camera event that you got to take pictures of like that really big boss that has water and you don't like.
I don't know about that.
Really?
No, I know
so
about
checked out.
I know about the banner for Chinese New Year. I don't know about the photos.
Yeah, what? So there was like a mini thing that happened where you had to take pictures of things that had specific color, either enemies or items, and I remember one of them was blue enemies, and so I had to go and fight the Oceanid to get a picture of that, and it sucked, and I have a really high world level. That aside, you got like 60 primos and all the other things, and within that time period I was able to get one good free roll of Zhao, and I hated that because it was really cool, but at the same time I was like, I rolled 5 times for really cute girl in the last banner. No, I'm not happy with you, RNG. But now it's the lantern, right? And I believe after you are done, you get a free 4-star as well. And the 4 stars, I believe, one of them is Jin Yan, the other is Beidou. I can't remember the other 3. actually 2 to 3. But though, like, it's kind of neat because like some of the ones that are harder to get, you actually can get later on, or so I'd like to believe. Um, Other than
Hmm.
that, I mean, I've been playing Madden for some reason because, you know, Tampa Bay won. Fun fact, if you guys have been keeping up with football, which is kind of easy nowadays because of pandemic things, Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9, which cements Tom Brady as begrudgingly the best quarterback in the league, or one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league. And I say that begrudgingly because I don't like Tom Brady, but he's good.
I had no idea he was on the Buccaneers.
Yeah,
Oh,
this was his first season. He signed with them this season. With my family being from Massachusetts, my entire family is big Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics, and Bruins fans. So even though I have pretty much checked out of football, pretty much, and the NFL as a whole, I was definitely keeping track of how Tom Brady was doing this season. And turns out he was doing pretty good.
Yeah, unfortunately. And you know what? Because of that, I honestly I actually played a little bit more Madden this week because it technically does count as an esport. Fun fact. And I kind of just simulated the Green Bay Packers beating Tom Brady's team again. So that was kind of my feel good moment of the week. And then I actually tried out Fortnite for the first time, and I feel like a child, but it's a real thing and it really scares me. But it's a really fun game, and I hate the fact that I think it's a fun game. So just know that if I turn into a child, you know why.
Karlo, I've heard you talk a lot of smack about Fortnite over the past like year or so that I've known you, and you're telling me that this is just now the first time that you've actually tried the game?
Yeah, it's the first time I actually played the game. Like, I know that's weird, but I'm offering it as a title at the college for part of the team. So I'm looking for Fortnite players. So I'm like, hey, if you want to play Fortnite, I'll give you a scholarship. And I think I've got
For a
like,
scholarship, are you kidding?
yeah. I mean, there was the 16-year-old, I think a couple years ago, that had won like $1 million
Yeah.
Fortnite. I think it was Bugha or something, and it was really cool because he was the talk of that entire month of like how esports can do a thing. And I said this in an earlier cast too, that I hate Fortnite not as much as I hate Overwatch, but I do see the potential of why Fortnite is a good esport.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like I like what it did for esports. Like, it's partly a catalyst for the reasons as to why I have a job, and how many people have a job in college. But at the very least, I thought, you know what, I'm going to be not biased. I'm going to have Fortnite. I'm going to offer it. I will learn how to play it begrudgingly, and it was actually fun. And I'm scared that it is fun because I kind of wanted it. Like the other day, I actually wanted to play it more, and I was like, no. Talking about reading stuff, I'm honestly excited for the Nagatoro anime. So I've just been reading. I only caught up on the new chapter. I believe they're on chapter 77 or 78 in Japan. I just found out last week that they actually have English releases now. When I went to Barnes and Noble for fun, so that's kind of neat. So if you guys are interested in Please Don't Tease Me Nagatoro, you should totally check that out. It's really cute in my opinion. And
The anime airing, do you know?
the anime's airing in April for the first one.
Oh,
So
yay.
so I'm really excited for that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I've been told that I am a degenerate for liking it, but I was like, no. Um,
Fine.
I was also watching. Like, it was really weird how I've been kind of catching up on like some anime, and one of the ones I was watching when I was working here from home, because my wife is also teaching downstairs. I would work downstairs sometimes with my laptop. I rewatched Sword Art Online actually, and I don't know what you guys think about Sword Art Online.
I'm
But
a fan.
you are?
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
watched, I
Olga.
think, up until I think I stopped around the third season, and then I was going to watch the spin-off.
Alternative, right?
Yeah.
Or
It's the one with guns. Is that
yep, Gun Gale
Gun
Online.
Gale Online? Yeah. I considered watching that, but I didn't, and I haven't caught up. But I did watch the first two seasons, and I did really
Yeah.
enjoy it. So it's a good show.
It's honestly, I liked it, and I remember when I was in Japan, I read it, and it kind of made me made me realize, I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of why I continued it, and everybody was like, oh, it kind of got worse, and absolutely, it kind of got worse in specific areas, but the overall look of it, it's honestly not that bad of an anime. It used to be for me at the level of like classic Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, like that generation of like anime, but it's not at that level anymore. But it's a really good anime regardless. Um, I mean, especially with like some, they actually even did a, what is it called when you kind of like rewrite something that's already been written, but you want to change up some of the past? Retconning, I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, they did that with
My
which I didn't like,
my first
but
instinct was to say remixing. So
yeah, that's fair. They took out like there's a portion where um because surprise, Kirito goes with Asuna. For those of you uh, who don't know, the main character goes out with the main other character, which, yep, that never
That's the
happens.
thing.
But there was a portion where Kirito, the main male character, had his first love in the game, if you will, and she ended up dying. And so, for most of the time, she was classified as said first love, and then I think like 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know when really, like the author rewrote that, and the reason for him being that aggressive was because it was his first love. So he wrote that and didn't even say that that's his first love anymore, which kind of doesn't make sense to me, and I hated it. But other than that, like small things aside, it's okay. And I actually started watching Toradora in English, because I actually never finished the anime, and I only started it last week. But it's really weird listening to the person who voices Sothis in Fire Emblem Three Houses, the person who voices Morgana in Persona 5, and the person who voices Suguha/Lifa from Sword Art Online. It's so weird listening to her voice because it works really well in like characters like Taiga, in like especially in that anime. It was really great. So also,
It's
if you like,
so.
huh?
Oh no, I was gonna say it's so wonderful and like kind of makes you do a double take because I had an experience this week. So the voice actor of Sasuke from
Yep.
Naruto,
Wait,
Yori
which one?
Lowenthal,
Yep. Okay.
he I did not realize, but uh Hack Hack
Doc Hack-
GU.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's getting a like a new port. And I think they're bringing it to PC.
Okay.
This just released this week. I probably should put it in my news section, but this story just reminded me of it. He voices the main male protagonist in Hack,
Really?
and it's literally like Sasuke. Like I know it's Yuri Lowenthal. I haven't heard any of his other work, but I was like,
Uh-huh.
this
Uh-huh.
feels weird. This is Sasuke.
If
uh,
you want something that blows your mind, funny thing that blew my mind was when I
Yeah.
played on the PS4, the Marvel Spider-Man game, and then I
mhm.
found out he was Peter Parker.
Yeah,
And I
Yuri
was like,
Lowenthal plays Spider-Man.
yeah,
Really?
he's really good.
He is, yeah.
It blows my mind. And what's really funny, by the way, that Sasuke is married to Tamari in real life. Tara Platt is the person who voices. She's well known for, like, as of recently, Edelgard in Three Houses. But the fun
This
part,
actually.
right? She's Detective, I think, Watanabe in Spider-Man. So it's kind of really funny how that worked out. But yeah, it's really great. Like voice, like just going back and listening to some of the voice actors. That's actually why, because I never really went past like episode like 10 or 12 or whatever in Japanese for Toradora. But that's kind of why I
Mhm.
went back to start listening to it in English, because I found out there's two really important people in my opinion, and it was Cassandra Lee Morris and Erica Harlacher who were voicing characters in English, and I was like, I'm actually a big fan of them.
Mm.
Great. So I starting to listen to it, and it's so great hearing those works that I wish I had listened to earlier, but it's really nice for sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
That being said, I know Kyle. I'm sorry that I had went off on that voice acting tangent. Would you like to start sharing your side of what you've been doing?
I mean, no apologies necessary, dude. Um, yeah, so this past week was pretty interesting because Sunday ended up being my birthday. So I don't know why I say ended up. Like it's like, oh, it's just weird.
I
just
guess this day is my
happened.
birthday.
It just happened to fall on the same day that it falls on every year, February 7th. But no, so I was decided that so last year for my 25th birthday, what I did was I went and I did stand-up comedy for the first time over at an open mic night, and that was just kind of like the gift to myself that I did. This year we're still in a pandemic. We weren't quite in the lockdown phase of the pandemic last year, so this year I was trying to like as I get older, I'm trying to do like different like things for myself as like a gift to myself each year.
Yeah.
So basically what I just decided to do was I was going to do a stream every single day of the week playing a different game and just hang out. Of course that didn't happen because life happens. But something that did end up happening is on my second night of streams is that I started playing Nier Automata again. I had started it before and I was playing it on Xbox One. I played like once on my stream on my personal Twitch channel, and I was like, yeah, this is rad. I'm going to keep playing this. And then something else caught my attention because I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. But now I kind of jumped back into it, and I ended up streaming Nier Automata and playing that. That's my stream game now at this point. That game is super duper rad. I know that's not news to anybody who's already played this game because it came out in 2017, but Bree, I know I saw you in my chat one night while I was playing that game, and you were like, "Where has this game been in my life?"
Yeah, I
beautiful.
heard you play it before, but I've never seen it, and it actually looks really fun.
Yeah, it's really, really super duper cool. Basically, if you don't know, the concept of the game is that at some point in history, aliens come to Earth with a army of machines. These would be your basic like robot type figures. And then the aliens kind of dip. Like nobody knows where the aliens went, but the machines stayed and started fighting a war. The humans are like, fuck this, and so they take off, they leave Earth and they colonize the moon, and to fight the war in their place they send androids to fight the fight for them. So it's a giant war of androids versus machines, and while the game obviously is it's very anime. That's the best way I can use to describe it. It's very anime, very Square Enix.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that it's a game that like you'll be like fighting, doing combat, and like having these epic boss fights all in 1 second, and then the next second it's all about these existential philosophical questions about like what is the meaning of life, like what does it mean to be a sentient being, and like things like that. And so I'm still in my first playthrough right now. I know that there are technically 26 different endings for this game, one for each letter of the alphabet.
Weird.
But there are 5 main playthroughs that you have to do. I already know about all that. I know that you play as a different character on 3 of the playthroughs. And I'm just going to keep on playing that game on my stream. That's twitch.tv/Kyle_Viv if you want to come and follow and hang out with me when I am streaming. But that's been super fun. I also jumped back into this little indie game called Crypt of the Necrodancer. Are you guys familiar with this game?
I am not, but I feel like either we've talked about it in passing or you tweeted about it.
So, Crypt of the Necrodancer is a indie game. It was the inspiration, and it's the same team that developed Cadence of Hyrule.
Oh,
Yes. Okay.
I
yes.
know that game.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I know that one.
So Cadence of Hyrule is based off of Crypt of the Necrodancer, just with Zelda characters. So
Yep.
Crypt of the Necrodancer is a roguelike game. So whenever you hop in, you do runs of the game. The levels are procedurally generated, so you never know what the level is going to look like beforehand, and you are trying to get as far as you can in each of your runs. Now, the thing that makes it different than other games is that it is also a rhythm game, where you've got this driving awesome soundtrack. Seriously, like, if nothing else, if you don't play Crypt of the Necrodancer, which you should, it's only $3 on Steam on sale right now. So go play that game. The soundtrack is just mwah, chef's kiss, amazing. I listened to one of those. I listen to that soundtrack on a regular basis. It's that good, just by itself, divorced from the game. But I've been hopping back into that just because because I've been listening to the soundtrack by itself. And I was like, you know what? This game kind of rules. I'm gonna get back into that. And I'm playing it now on Steam. I'm playing it on PC now instead of, I originally played the game on Switch, which the Switch version of it is very good. That's a great way to play that game. But now I'm playing it on PC, and maybe I'm missing something, but it appears that there's no controller support on the Steam version of the game. Maybe I need to dig into the menu some more, but it's all just using the directional buttons, the up, down, left, right arrow keys, playing the game. And that's really what's taking me the most getting used to as far as playing that game again, because it's not regular buttons like on a Switch Joy-Con. What else have I been doing? So I've been doing a lot of the primary thing I've been doing this past week is I have been reading JoJo Part 8, aka JoJolion. I started reading JoJolion a while ago, but I've had a hard time with JoJolion just because it's the most recent part of the most recent arc of JoJo. It started in 2014, and he's still writing it. He puts out a new chapter every single month. It's starting to wind down now, but there was part of me that was like, I don't know if I would necessarily want to get caught up on this and be on a weekly or a monthly basis of reading one chapter. I like to binge, you know. And so I was hoping that I could just I was just kind of hoping that maybe I could wait until, and then I was just like, you know what? No, let's just go ahead and do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. According to one of my friends who is all caught up, it seems like that it's finally starting to wind up or wrap up. And so I was like, okay, let's do it. So I read this past week chapter 7 through 23 of JoJolion. The thing about reading the JoJo manga is it's commonly kind of seen in the fandom that Part 7, Steel Ball Run, the arc that came before this one, was Araki's magnum opus. Like, this is like everything that he's been working towards, and this is a masterpiece work. And so when you have your masterpiece work and then you have another part coming up after it, you know, standards are pretty high as far as what you're doing. But, like, the thing is like, I think he might actually be nailing it. Like, he might be on track to have another banger of a part of JoJo. And it's just super duper wild. I can't talk about too terribly much about it because spoilers. I will say, and I'll try my best to talk around it. So the main character, the JoJo for Part 8, has amnesia. He does not remember who he is or who he was, that's a big driving force in this part. And surprisingly, considering that he's been doing JoJo since the 80s, the main JoJo has never had amnesia before. So it's interesting that he finally decided in 2014, after writing this since the 80s, he was like, yeah, you know what? We're going to do amnesia. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
And there's a part and people who have read JoJolion will probably know what I'm talking about, just even from me talking around it. In chapter 11 of JoJolion, where you find out some information that literally had me audibly gasp and say out loud by myself. I live alone. Like, just saying out loud, like, excuse me? Like, the information. Basically, the best way I can describe it, again, without giving, like, specific information, was imagine that you are watching a DC Comics movie. You go into an alternate timeline, and there you meet Batman. But instead of Batman being Bruce Wayne, you find out that Batman is actually Lex Luthor. That is the best way that I can describe the information that was given. I was like, okay. Okay. This is nuts, but okay. No, fuck it, let's do it. So yeah, watched a lot, or read a lot of JoJo Land. As far as what I've been watching, this part will go a lot quicker than the previous sections. I watched like a couple more episodes of Dragon Ball Super. It's still Dragon Ball Super. I finished watching Diamond is Unbreakable JoJo Part 4. Again, my friend CJ and I had been watching it as they continue their journey through the JoJo verse. So we're now down with Part 4. So now there's only left to watch is Part 5, which that will be a long experience because the Crunchyroll app on Xbox really is terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Can I just point out that I feel like a lot of the YouTube, like any of those streaming service apps are super garbage on consoles.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know why.
But Crunchyroll, like for whatever reason, is even worse. Like, because basically what will happen is we'll load up the next episode of whatever we're watching, and we'll just basically it will basically decide that we will sit on a screen where it's just buffering for an advertisement, and it'll be like 5 minutes of buffering. And like the advertisement won't even be on screen. It'll be a black screen with like the orange ring going around and around and around. And we'll just sit there for 5 minutes, and before we just give up, we're like, we could probably find this somewhere else where we don't want to deal with this. It's it's so bad.
I actually heard a couple people on Twitter saying that Funimation has been having issues, I believe, on Xbox as well with the subtitling.
Really?
Yeah, I believe I read somewhere that someone was watching an anime on Funimation and like the wrong subtitle, like from the wrong show, was showing
man.
up on so
that's real bad.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's like that specific console or what have it, because I've actually had some issues similar to that on like there's been complaints about Hulu and Netflix for anime subtitles where
they're real bad.
Not the same problem, but the like half of the season will have subtitles and then they just stop.
I've seen it with
like Hulu and stuff, or is it like is it a Crunchyroll thing, or just in specific?
Like my I don't know. Like my specific instance was using the I think I was watching Shippuden on Hulu, and I was having issues there. But I've had similar issues on like Netflix where the subtitles were just missing. So I had to like stop watching that, and like I had to stop watching Shippuden on Hulu and then move on to Crunchyroll on my computer. Instance where the wrong subtitles for different anime is really not good.
I have seen it on Netflix where it's like, and this is probably the least egregious example of all of these, is where it will be like, so I like to watch just shows in general with subtitles on because I'm a little bit hard of hearing. And
that's fair.
It will be a case of like what the people are saying in the show completely does not match up with what the subtitles are saying. Like sometimes it's like maybe a different like word or two, but sometimes it's like almost completely different sentences. Like basically meaning the same thing, but it's like it ends up being this thing of like basically you have two people talking to you at once, but one person is only like talking to you in text, and somebody else is speaking to you, and like they're saying the same thing, but they're like it like kind of clashes with your brain. And when it gets to that point, I'm like, I have to turn subtitles off, and I hate that.
I know that like I started to get used to more like English dubs because like I can't. It's been hard for me to listen to Japanese and focus on something on like writing in English, because like so for example, like I'll write a letter, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be doing English. I remember one time it kind of just like came over like it just like kind of like reprogrammed something, and I started writing one thing in like Romanji Japanese, and I was like, wait a second, I don't want to do that. So I get like, because a lot of that code switching just kind of sucks, especially when you know the language too. So I mean, like it sucks. I haven't been able to like relearn Japanese in a while, but you know, a really weird way I've been able to like watch anime is just, you know, just having that in the background. And I kind of understand too. It's like you, even if you don't have hard of hearing, like it's nice to actually have that just to listen, and you at least natively understand what's going on at that point because of, you know, the language.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
As far as other things I did this week, I started watching Hunter x Hunter. Which I know a lot of people are like probably saying like, oh, it's about time. I'm not very far in. I think last episode that I watched was they're at the Hunter exam and they just got done with that long tunnel of following the guy. Like it's so I'm not very far in like at all.
Okay.
I'll definitely keep
What are
on.
your thoughts so far?
It's fine. It's fine. I'm not I'm not in love with it yet.
Yet is the key word.
I can definitely see why people like it. I think my only problem so far, and I'm gonna get flack from this in the chat, is that I can definitely tell that Gon is a little bit of a Goku. He definitely fits into that same. He's definitely fits into that same kind of archetype as Goku.
That's true.
That doesn't necessarily mean like I already like Gon a lot more than Goku. I should probably clarify that I like Gon a lot more than Goku.
Okay.
Then again, I can't stand. Goku.
Like...
So, but he falls into the same stereotype. I like Leorio so far. I think he's
Daddy Leorio.
I think he's a cool dude with a really great sense of style. I want to be him. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really far enough in to really give like a full like endorsement of whether or not I'm in love with the show like everybody else is. I do. It's funny. So my friend CJ is the one who is like was like we should watch this because they love Hunter x Hunter, and they're also quite obsessed with, I don't know his name. It's the clown guy.
Oh, Hisoka?
Yes. But I already know a little bit about Hisoka in the fact that he is kind of pedophile-ish.
That's a shonen, right?
And so CJ is like in love with Hisoka, and every chance I get, like he's on screen, I was like, oh hey, look, there's the pedophile clown, and they're like, oh please, he's not, he's just horny for fights, and he just loves to fight the strongest person, and the strongest person happens to be Gon, and I'm like, that sounds like a pedophile to me. I'm sorry, like, and so I had.
That has immediately changed how I feel about that anime now. I was like, it looks like a pretty cool, like, I wouldn't watch it, but it was like, it looks like a pretty cool anime, and I know Erica Mendez, like, voices one of the main boys in the group, but then just, God, that...
You haven't watched it?
Nope.
Oh, okay, because we have quite a few people in the chat kind of going off. I see that CQ Coffee and Seth Ralph for Smash seem to really enjoy Hunter x Hunter and asked who our favorite boys were, but seeming that Karlo hasn't seen it, I don't...
I would say for me right now, it's either Leorio or, was it Kurapika?
Kurapika, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
His arc. Oh, okay.
Is he a Sasuke?
I'm not sure.
You know, that's a great question. What does the chat think? Is Kurapika a Sasuke? I don't know if anyone's got that far.
I would ask Erica Mendez because I just realized that she's the one who voices Kurapika.
Oh, that's okay. Wow. Well.
No, sorry, Erica Harlacher voices Kurapika.
Oh, I mean, great work either way. I see CQ Coffee is saying that Kurapika is a king, and then Seth Roth for Smash says that Kurapika is a baby. Kurapika is a better Sasuke than Sasuke, which
Good.
I would agree with. I would definitely agree with that.
Amazing.
As
Yeah,
a side note, Erica Mendez voices gone. Erica
Ooh, okay.
Harlacher voices Kurapika.
Amazing.
So my thing with Hunter x Hunter so far is that I don't dislike it. I will continue to watch it.
You should.
I think it seems like it's short enough that I would want to watch it. Whereas I've had a lot of people recently be like, "You should watch One Piece. You should read One Piece," and I'm like, "Dude, do you think I have that kind of time?"
One Piece is like, you've got to go through 10 years. Like, you know what? At least it's not case closed. That show, I love that show, but that show has been up since 1996.
According to Google, there are currently 931 episodes of One Piece.
Well, yeah, Oda just hit not that long ago 1,000 chapters. So he's up there with a few other mangas for like the most amount of chapters in a series. There's only a few others that are more than that, which is probably Conan and I can't think of the other one.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't. Like 931 episodes versus something like Hunter x Hunter, which only, according to people also search for, only has 148 episodes. I want to be able to feasibly finish these in a reasonable amount of time.
Totally makes sense. And I think this is a good show that gives you more than just one or two seasons. You're like, man, there needs to be more, and I want more. I think, I think Hunter x Hunter is a good amount if you want to get into something new.
Right.
There's a lot of slack because the show is not necessarily complete.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't read the manga, but I'm fairly certain that the manga is complete while the anime is not. And there's, I think, a lot of slack thrown towards the mangaka for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it did say the show was like, it was a 1999 show, wasn't it? And
yeah.
now it's like they had like that remake, which is like 2011. I don't even know if that was a remake. I don't know how that works. Just something I saw. But
I think I may have also seen a similar conversation. I particularly don't know, so I can't speak upon that. But I mean, it's basically all the streaming platforms. It's a good show if you're looking for a new shonen to get into. I quite like the storyline, and I think they flesh out some of the characters really well.
That's good.
I have some of my quarrels that I don't necessarily like, and then we kind of like, similar to some of the other shonens in like Naruto, there's like where you go off with some of the characters and you don't see the others for a really long time, and you're like, wait, but like what happened? Like,
right.
There's a little bit of that, or a lot of bit of that in Hunter x Hunter, but for me, my favorite characters, I love both Gon and Killua. How can you not love those two idiot boys? They are just so adorable. Their friendship, I think, is what makes me really happy.
I might actually check out the show. I know it's just one of those, because honestly, I think so when Fire Emblem Three Houses came out, and then I started to actually like get to listen to Erica Mendez a bit more, because she also voices Raftalia in Shield Hero. And I was like, oh yeah, I actually appreciate her voice. So when I heard her and I can't remember who else she was talking to on Twitter, but it was just like that one-off conversation that was just by, and just she said something about Gon, and I was like, huh, okay, I might actually check out this show one of these days. And it's been 2 years and I haven't, but it's like, it's definitely one of those shows that look interesting. I just, like you said, Kyle, I really need the time to do that.
Yeah, there's just so much out there. It's hard to, divide up your free time that you do have into the things that we enjoy. I totally get it, but it comes highly recommended. I would say, Kyle, if you can stick with it, let me know how it goes. And Carla, if you start, I hope you do, because it is a good show.
We're gonna have to finish that Horimiya shenanigans first, but
that too.
Ooh.
And finally, to wrap up my week, is a very weird thing that I watched. Yesterday I ended up spending the entire day over at my parents' house and spending the night over there, so that way I would be within driving distance of my day job because it's been super icy and stuff. I watched season 1 of The Vampire Diaries yesterday.
That's
a great anime.
Yeah, the OP for that is great.
I don't know how to feel about that show. I'll be quite honest with you. It's not horrible. It like so so I guess basically what happened was my sister started watching that show because her fiance liked that show. And then my mom needed a new show to watch, and so my sister suggested Vampire Diaries to my mom to watch. And so I was over at their place yesterday, and my mom was like, do you want to watch something on Netflix that I might like? Because she knew that like my default would be like, I'm going to watch some anime. And so she's like, well, do you want to watch something that I might like? And I'm like, I don't know what you might like, so I'll let you pick. And so she was like, all right, I'm going to continue watching Vampire Diaries. So I watched an episode. Then I watched another episode. Then all of a sudden it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm watching the season 1 finale of Vampire Diaries.
You're like, oh crap, this show's really good. Like,
no, I won't say that. The show is not really good. It is serviceable.
Okay, Kyle.
It is serviceable. It is not bad by any means. It's not bad. There are moments where the writing is definitely bad, though. Like, sometimes the dialogue is just a little too... you really wanted to try to be Twilight during this time, didn't you? And it's just real bad. It's a little too teen drama. Just a little bit. But I think the storylines that they have in place are interesting. It's definitely not bad, but it's not great. It is.
Here's a question. If it was turned into an anime, do you think it would be better with the same writing, or no? Literally the show, but it's an anime.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe throw in some like, I'm sure there's like fighting scenes because they're vampires. Like throw in some cool like animated like.
I think it might be better as an anime. Honestly, like I'm really thinking about it. Is that
we are weebs?
It might be better as an anime because like. I don't know when season 1 came out, but like the actual like mystical like vampire stuff, like they're super fast and everything. It looks so bad. It looks really bad. It's like a blur effect, and you can tell that they just did it at like normal speed, and they added a blur effect and sped up the footage. Like you can tell like with the steps that they took to make it look like he's a vampire. He's so quick. I don't know. Again, it's not horrible. I think the overall story is fine, but it's like there's moments of dialogue that are bad where it's just like, yeah. I think there was even like a straight up moment where a character said one thing to another, and then I said a retort to that character. With a certain kind of inflection, and then the main character said the exact same thing that I said with the same kind of inflection that I did, and I was like, yep, that's how you know you're watching a teen drama right there.
You know,
wow.
Do you guys remember Vampire? I had to look this up too, just to make sure I had the name right. You guys remember the anime Vampire Night?
The name sounds familiar, but I've never watched. I've never seen it.
Oh, let me look it up.
It's super shoujo. It's like a dark fantasy romance type of thing. I had to look this up because I had to double check to make sure I'm saying the right things. I remember liking this. Okay, it's a very guilty pleasure of a guilty anime pleasures of guilty pleasures, and it was basically like the main character was this really awesome girl by the name of Yuki, and she ends up like having to basically choose between, I believe, 2 vampires. One's named Zero and the other, who the hell names their child Zero? Anyways, one's named Zero and the other
Zero is my father's name.
Right? Like,
Call
whatever.
me One.
Oh my god.
And I think they're both vampires, but Zero himself was also a vampire hunter and a vampire, and the main character is basically like she's really like this. I would like to think she's a strong-willed individual because she's able to protect herself with like a rod and has a gun, I believe. And she's basically she was the
Dang.
adopted daughter of like the person who's the headmaster of the school she's going to. And so I just thought I remember that anime and how somewhat cute that was. And then Twilight
Well,
happened,
mm,
and then I hated Twilight,
Yeah.
and that ruined everything vampire related to me ever.
I could see that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I will
I
say
didn't like the anime anymore after that movie, and I liked the anime and the manga. It was like it was super cute, in my opinion, and then Twilight ruined it for me.
Do you
It
know
just
what other work that creator has done? I just looked it up. It's published by Shoujo Beat, but I don't know. The characters look really familiar.
let me see here. Oh, they have Vampire Night Memories. Anyways, I'm not interested. Um,
Yeah, I feel like there was like an amp up of vampire like stories in media, and then I
yeah.
feel like it kind of died off after
Mhm.
Vampire Diaries, because I've never watched Vampire Diaries, but I distinctly remember when it came out, like Kyle said, not too long after Twilight. And I
Hmm.
feel like we kind of like stopped seeing vampire stuff in media, at least me. I don't know, maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I was like, that's not cool anymore.
I feel like it
Uh,
was Twilight, it was Vampire Diaries, and then it was True Blood, and then
You're right. Yes.
that was the trifecta of vampire like dramas, and then for a long time vampires were like, oh, it's so done. We can't do vampires anymore. Um,
Like I feel like they definitely killed that. Because I
Hmm.
remember actually enjoying like this is a little bit more on like the ecchi shenanigans, but like Rosario plus Vampire. Like I remember watching that, and I enjoyed it. Like I wish they completed it like the anime. Like I ended up reading the manga, but it's just like it was just for some reason like after I feel like after Twilight like things just kind of went downhill for the vampire trope in
Mm.
general, like the romancing of the vampire. Um, I think I think one anime I actually think about now because it doesn't really fully focus on it because it was always like a subplot in like the overarching series. The one a rare anime that actually did well with that because they also had other demons and beasts to deal with was a show called Bakemonogatari. I don't know if you've ever heard of that,
mm-mm.
but they have like
Mm-mm.
but the mono it I think they called it the Monogatari series because they would have like the first season would be like Bakemonogatari, and then the second season would be like Nisei Monogatari. Like it would have like different names for it. But it was basically a story of, and it's like the same main character, which is who's really cool, kind of weird, but he's hilarious, and it's a hilarious show, and he was actually like transitioning back from being a vampire zombie or whatever. And so he still kind of has his powers, but he's like, oh yeah, I'm not a dead person anymore. But he got those powers from a vampire, but that's never really talked about as a plot until like a weird offshoot OVA or whatever. Which again, and the artwork for that, by the way, that show is mesmerizing because it's
Hmm.
literally like an anime on crack, but it's really good. So
I mean, I'm here for it. What about Castlevania, though? Isn't that about
That
vampires?
I was just about to say,
yeah,
Castlevania is the
oh
pinnacle of my
right,
favorite like vampire content.
I
The
forgot.
Castlevania
Ah,
show is fantastic.
I mean, I played the
I.
game.
Oh, yes, it's based off of a game
Right.
originally, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I have neither played or watched it. I
You
did.
should watch it.
If any of you, I considered it after watching the Netflix documentary
Hmm.
um, that they put out. It's something anime. Everyone should know that I am just really bad with anything that involves a name, which is everything. I'm very terrible with remembering
You're
titles
okay.
and names of things. Um, but they interviewed the creator of Castlevania for the anime, and
Okay.
that Enter the Anime. I had to look it up.
Mm.
It's called Enter the Anime on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, it's basically like some of the main creators that are making Netflix original anime series. So it's basically just Netflix tooting its own horn, saying like, "Look how cool! Look at all these animes we have." I actually thought it was an enjoyable documentary, though. Other than it's basically the host of the show doesn't know anything about anime, so they have her go to Japan, interview all these anime creators for Netflix, and learn about it. But that's how I learned about Castlevania. But I just don't know if I would enjoy it because from the previews that I've seen, it seems very gory.
It is.
that true?
It is very gory.
It is.
And I am not a fan of gore necessarily.
You should probably not watch Attack on Titan.
It's also why I've been avoiding that show because it just seems, I don't know, too much.
If you can get past the gore, Castlevania is fantastic. But that is a pretty large component of the show, I will say.
Yeah, like part of me wants to try it because one, you're saying how much you enjoy it, and like I've heard other people say that they enjoy it. Same thing with Attack on Titan. I'm like, do I watch it? But I just feel like the violence and the gore would probably turn me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you would rate the scale of like gore of Demon Slayer, but for me, that's like, I feel pretty comfortable with that. That's not too bad. It does get kind of gross occasionally, and it does get worse.
I feel like like anime like that, I kind of make it similar to comparing Call of Duty to Overwatch, like a weird metaphor, weird analogy for it, but it's like, yeah, most colleges don't like a lot of colleges don't like Call of Duty because it's like super hyper realistic, but then a lot of those same schools, 90% of them are like, we have Overwatch, which is basically shooting, but really cartoony. And I feel like with Demon Slayer, even though it has that core, it still has the art style of being like...
It has everything else
cute.
behind it. Yeah.
It's like Madoka Magica lying to me, saying it was a magical anime, but it's a lot worse.
I would definitely say that Castlevania's gore is probably a step and a half above what Demon Slayer's is, at least.
I'd believe that. I'd believe it.
Yeah, I just don't know if it'd be for me, but it looks good, and it's valid. It's like validating to hear that it's like top, at least for you, Kyle. And it sounds
100%.
like Karlo, you really like it.
And I mean,
top vampire content.
It's like Castlevania is my top vampire content, and that includes JoJo Part 1, which is basically a vampire story. So that, if that says anything to you.
I liked it because I played the game as a kid, and I remember getting angry because I didn't realize how to play said game for like, I think a good month. And I would like kind of go back to it as a kid, and I'd just be like, why can't I throw my axes? And then I realized like, oh yeah, I got hit by something. And so I'd never have like a good time for it, but it was a good game. It was a good game. And that's kind of why I watched the show.
Definitely.
Netflix, like, they're like a 50-50 on like getting... Sorry. They're like a 50-50 on getting like shows right anyway. Like, I don't know. I think HBO Max is actually starting to like pump out new shows too. Like shows that they created, and I find it really hilarious because I think Netflix started it during the live streaming things. It's like, oh, Netflix original. Now you're gonna start seeing, oh look, an HBO original. So they're gonna come out with those shows too.
I'm sure all of the platforms, if they aren't, they will.
Yeah.
And it's just it's like being able to monetize and like, oh, you can't get this anywhere else. It's like with Disney Plus, you can't get that anywhere else. Any of those Disney shows anyway. Like they.
Sorry that I wanted to watch Hamilton. On Disney Plus. Just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But
I mean. Oh, go ahead.
No, nothing. I was just gonna say that wraps up my week as far as what I've been up to. If Bree, you wanted to take things over with yours.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I had such a fun conversation about the Hunter x Hunter that just got me really excited. And vampires. Well, all of my stuff is very much so the opposite of the shows that you've been watching. For games, I've been hopping back into Calico, which I have mentioned here before. The like really cute magical girl running a cat cafe game. I'm getting back into it, and I very much enjoy it. It's just so cute. The soundtrack for it actually is really good. I would say if cutesy community simulator is like not your thing, totally understand it. But I would say you should check out the soundtrack. Um, Listening to it while you're playing is really enjoyable, but it's also just really beautifully composed. And listening to it like while I'm working is just like so nice and relaxing. And there's actually like singers on there, which I know there are a few games that feature vocals, but like they actually have composed songs that play throughout parts of the game, which is just really cute. I basically, for the last couple of days, have been decorating my cafe and collecting all of the animals because the idea is all of the animals like out in the wild, you can basically have them join your cafe and they just like take up residence there, and your patrons can buy pastries and hang out with the cats and the animals. So my goal from one of the villagers was to get a bird to take residence at the cat cafe. And it's so freaking cute. There's a bunch of pigeons that like roam around the main area of the village, and all of the pigeons wear hats. Have a moment.
Why does I every time I hear you talk about this game, I always get those hatful boyfriend. Hatful. I think was it hatful boyfriend or like
the pigeon dating sim.
Yeah, the pigeon dating sim, and I was like, why did I just get that? The second you said pigeons with hats, I was like, why did I get that vision in my head? Pigeon dating sim. Like
I don't know, and that sounds very deviant.
Check out Steam. Markiplier did a thing on that too. Really
I
weird.
think it's also on PC Game Pass if you want to play it that way.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, great.
Great.
No, stay in the really wholesome, cute, non-deviant.
I believe that game is also wholesome and cute.
Yeah, like you're just trying to romance your senpai pigeon.
Yeah.
Like relax.
Senpai. Oh, good.
Like
good,
you're
good.
fine.
Notice me, senpai.
Like I want to get into the jimmies of my senpai, my pigeon senpai, and like rustle those jimmies like you would rustle the feathers.
We've deviated. We've just gone down to the 7.
From cats to pigeons. Welcome to the Bits and
Great.
Pixels, the happy hour.
I don't want it.
Please, let's get back on track. Calico is a really adorable game. Non-deviant. Cats everywhere. You can pick up the cats. You can hold the cats. You can pet the cats. Freaking cute. Also, it's a very inclusive game.
That's great.
I think Calico is from what I have seen, I feel like Calico is one of the more inclusive games. When you start the game up, it's kind of like The Sims where you have options for all of the body parts, hair, like eyes, like everything, like down to like the size of your legs. Like you have all the customizations. You don't have to choose gender. Like you can present your character exactly the way that you want it. And there's also just like a cast of there's a wide cast of characters that I feel like do a pretty good job of representation. There's I feel like a really good blend of different relationships in the game. There's a really good blend of like non-gender conforming characters. So aside from the cutesiness, I love that the developers made this game just really inclusive. Like, right, the subtitle of the game is like magical girls building cat cafes, but truly it's just magical people. There's like I said, there's when you start the game, you don't have to choose being male or female. You can be like, you can make yourself look any way you want. There's no pronoun for your character. There are pronouns for other characters, and they are really specific about them. Like similar to like the story of seasons, when you go into the log, you can see the characters that you met, and like their names and like a little bio. So same thing with Calico, but it specifically gives you the pronouns too, which I think is awesome. I love that they do that.
That's super rad.
Yeah, so I would say if you want a relaxing game, more relaxing, honestly, than Animal Crossing, Story of Seasons, Sims, like the game is there for you to have like a relaxing, like cozy time. And like you have tasks and stuff that you have to do, but it's just super chill. Like you don't have to worry about getting things done in like a really specific timely fashion, like Story of Seasons. Like if you don't tend to your animals right away, like when you wake up in the game, like and you forget to feed them because you're like, oh, I have to go like hoe the fields. Your animals might get sick, and like then you have to go buy medicine and you have to afford it, and like that can be really tough when you're first starting out. Calico, you don't have to worry about any of that. Like there's also like you basically are in charge of your day, which I think is awesome. And this is really stupid, but there's no there's like what do I want to call it? You don't have to worry about the pets in your cat cafe or the animals. Like you don't have to necessarily be responsible for them. Like they do their own thing. Like you don't have to put food out for them. You don't have to worry about animals dying, which is I think great because I definitely will take my giant cat that I ride up to the mountain, and instead of taking the trail all the way down, I will just jump off the mountain and land at the bottom, and we're fine. There's no problem. You could do the same thing with your character. You could just jump from heights, and it's all good.
It's fine.
It's fine. That's a really weird thing to like enjoy from a game, but I like that there's like no consequences in like in a way of like this type of game. Like I don't have to worry about my character fainting or getting stung by a bee and then having to go back to my house and like get medicine for it.
Oh, 100%.
It's just cute. Really fun, relaxing. I definitely recommend it. It's also like if that's the type of game that you want to play, like a community sim, it's $12. So if you're in the market for something like that and that's something that you can afford, I would go for it. So that's my spiel on Calico. I'm glad that we stopped deviating. The other game that I've been playing a lot is Going Under. Love. It's so hard.
The game looks super
I feel like
rad.
I've heard of it before.
Yeah, I've talked about it before. Okay. I have not gotten that far. It is a really wonderfully like visual game. The graphics on it are just like so pleasant, and again, the soundtrack is really pleasant. Similar with Calico, they have some really great music. But man, oh man, is it not like Calico, and it definitely has consequences.
It's like playing like, oh, I'm gonna play this really nice, really sweet game, and then you went straight into like the heaviest, edgiest game that you could possibly think of. Just
go straight into a dungeon crawler and like get killed by goblins. Rip.
That sounds about right.
It's tough. Yeah, there's three main areas of three main dungeons. I think I said this last time. So I won't go into depth, but there's three main dungeons and there's levels on each dungeon. Mm-hmm. I have 2 dungeons open. I finally, after maybe like probably like 15 or more runs, I finally made it to the boss of dungeon 1. Mm-hmm. And I think I got him down to like 3/4 to close to a halfway down of health. But because I was like, oh my god, I made it, like I was so excited and like trying to like avoid and like trying to get a hit in, you just don't know what to expect when you meet a boss for the first time. So I
Mhm.
died, and I have to start all over now.
Rip.
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 So, wonderful, wonderful game, very hard. That's really it for games. I fell off Genshin when Carlo mentioned the photography thing. I hope that's still around, or is it
No,
not?
it just ended yesterday because they're now doing Chinese New Year. But every gacha game right now that's from like Asia. So Fate Grand Order, for example, they're starting their. I really hate how I'm saying this. It's Fate Grand Order. They're starting their Chinese New Year event in the next couple of days. They're currently on the Valentine's Day one. I know, no, most gachas don't really look at Valentine's Day, at least from what I know. Epic 7, I bet does. I just haven't played that in a bit, but yeah, Genshin's on their Chinese New Year event too, so free stuff and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, I'm really bummed that I ended up missing that event because I've kind of fell off of following what new events are coming out.
well, it's
Oh,
nice because they're giving out more. I feel like they're giving out more things.
I do know, I think they are running a giveaway right now, but they are on their Twitter, they posted freebie wallpapers for like your computer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually, I took a look at them and they're pretty nice. So if you like Genshin and you want a new wallpaper, there you go. They definitely did not have enough of Zhangling though. My girl was done dirty, and they gave her
I
one
don't want to
wallpaper.
hear it. Mona's been somewhere. It's been hard to find wallpaper for my new computer.
There is. I sent you one. There's one of with. She's with other characters, but Mona is in like the main one.
Oh no. Like aside from that,
Oh,
like
okay.
I'm doing like the two. I have it's set for two different screens, so I have one for this, one for the other one, and then I have the lock screen because I have a problem with my life, and
I think we all do.
that's about it.
There you go,
I
Carlo.
think
I got you.
thanks, fam.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, but
Oh.
anyways, moving on because I've kind of fell off of playing Genshin. So Calico and Going Under have been my main thing right now. I know I will be playing Animal Crossing this weekend since they have like Valentine's Day stuff going on,
Oh,
and
they
then
do.
the festival Mardi Gras ish event is happening on Monday.
Why have I
So
not added you as a friend on Switch? The
it's a good
hell?
question. I don't know why.
At least like get some free stuff from your island. I
I'll
feel
send you my
actually very
friend code
bad.
when we. Yeah, I'll send you my friend code when we go on a break.
Okay, great,
um,
thanks.
yeah, we could do that. That'll be fun. I always have people over too, and we like run around and do stupid stuff.
I feel like you should just stream that, like just on an off day, just do like bits and pixels, like, oh, you know what you should do? Yeah, we should do like a bits and pixels like island visiting thing, and then we're gonna have like bits and pixel shirts like made in like the design thing, and that'd be I don't know why I'm doing this because I guess that's cool.
He said, "You said it. Now we have to do it. We have to deliver.
Crap. Whoops.
We have to deliver." Carlo, who wants to see us stream Animal Crossing? That would be kind of fun. I don't know how the heck we would do it because I'm not technologically advanced at all.
Oh, that's easy. I could explain later.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's
We'll
actually
make
very
it.
easy to do it. And you
Sweet.
can actually have codes so people can't like steal your crap.
Yeah, I
Because
know that part, but I mean, we'll talk later. We'll talk later.
yeah, plans.
Yeah, so I'll be playing Animal Crossing, but I have for reading and for what I've been watching all new stuff, and I'm so excited. I've been reading a new manga called Star Collector. It is by Yen Press, and Yen Press is actually experimenting by putting some of their chapters, specifically just Star Collector, because that's the only one that's currently on Webtoons. But yeah, they're experimenting and putting a manga series on Webtoon, which I am really curious to see if they end up bringing more, if maybe they have a deal going on with Webtoon. I'm not entirely sure, but Star Collector is a manga series where you can buy like full volumes, but literally the only reason that I started reading it was because it was on Webtoon and it's free. I love me some free manga. You know, manga's expensive these days.
I forgot that like reading manga online is can be actually illegal. I
Ooh.
forgot about that weird fact because I was reading the I was trying to see. I was just trying to update myself on like One Punch Man because I think they're on episode chapter 139 online, and I for some reason thought, oh, I was like, why is it so hard to find One Punch Man manga? And then you said this, and I was like, oh wait, that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
it's in America. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, I try nowadays. Like, I have for the last couple of months, I was going to the comic book store and like sometimes picking up really random volumes of manga that I was just like, oh, this like seems interesting. So I had some great volumes that I got through this past year, but manga's expensive. Like, I ain't got that kind of money, so
You
I'm
don't really
trying
got
to
time for that.
also, yeah. And the rate that I binge manga, it's just not fair. Why is it fair that I'm spending $40 at the comic book store to get new volumes and I finish it that weekend? Like, I have to be like, no, Brianna, like I have one volume on the shelf right now that I have not touched, and I got it about 4 weeks ago. And it's because of the fact that I just bought it and I don't want to speed through it because then I'll be really sad because I'm like, then I want more.
Mhm.
So, but long story short, that's why I started getting into Star Collector on Webtoon by Yen Press. It is basically a BL manga of the
Hot.
main yes. um it's BL is new for me, so I
Oh really? Oh okay.
pretty much.
I'm not familiar with the term.
Oh.
Oh.
Do you know yaoi?
Okay, yep, I know that term.
So yaoi and BL are interchangeable. Basically, BL means
Gotcha.
boys love.
Gotcha.
Yes.
There's also GL, which is
No,
girls
boys love,
love,
not gotchas.
not
Anyways.
gotchas.
All right.
So it is a boys
Gotcha.
love series, and it's about a kind of a it's a guy in high school who was dating a girl, and she ends up breaking up with him in the very first chapter. And she's like, you, this isn't working. Like, you obviously have other things on your mind. You need to go figure that out.
Mhm.
And through events of him trying to like blow off steam and try to like do something with his life, because he's like, he has a, I guess they pin him out to be like a bad boy. Like, he doesn't go to school. Um, he doesn't seem to do much of anything other than like smoke cigarettes and like leaves, like not go to school. But he ends up going to this like one spot near his house to like go smoke, and he sees another guy who is star watching. And
Oh,
he
that's why it's
ends
called
up
Star
finding, yeah, the character's really cute. The one who's into star watching, he's just really adorable. He's a big nerd, and he tries to explain to this guy of like why he deserves to be in this spot to watch stars, and the guy's like, no, this is my spot. Get away
No.
from here. So there ends up being some attraction there that the main character did not expect. So yeah, there are 9 chapters out on Webtoon, and it's completely free. So if that's your thing, there you go. I enjoy it. I read it every week.
Most people like free.
I like free. Who doesn't? It's free. Another freebie that I've been reading again is Jujutsu Kaisen. I talked about that I think a couple episodes ago, where I only read the first chapter. I've gotten up a couple more chapters, I think to like 5, and while it is not the first manga that I'm going to read, on my Viz app, I am starting to like it. The characters are pretty funny. Yuji is kind of an idiot boy, but it's all good. We kind of love him. He's a goof. That's
Uh,
my spiel on that one.
Brie, so I've been thinking about like subscribing to a manga like app. Would
Yeah.
you recommend Viz? What it like? What? How does that look?
Like Viz Media Viz?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So they basically have it's the Viz app, but it's their Shonen Jump um, membership.
Mm-hmm.
It is $1.99 a month. You get a week for free. Um, I will say, like, okay, so I'll preface this with I am new to reading manga through an application and online in general. I was more into manga like in my younger years, so I always bought the physical volumes.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't sure how I was going to like it, but I really do. And I read the entire, no, that's a lie. I read from volume 12 to volume 21 of Demon Slayer on Viz. Um, so if you're looking to read free chapters, free, oh, it's not free. So it's $1.99 a month. They have the chapters version of a series, and then they have volumes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where it gets a little bit annoying because the series that say chapters, those are the ones that you can download without an additional fee with your membership. If it says volumes, they're $6.99.
Mm.
So for me, it's a little frustrating because I wish I got more out of the membership. That being said, I have already gotten a ton of value out of that subscription because I've saved myself time and I've saved myself a ton of money just by reading Demon Slayer. Because there's 21 volumes. I read 11 from the library, and my library no longer has it doesn't have anything past that. So I had full access to that, which to me the value was there. But if you're looking to get into more of the main shonen series, not all of them, they have some of their other stuff on there too.
Because my plan
Like,
after I get caught up with JoJo Lion is to read Demon Slayer. I'm gonna pick up where the anime left off, and that I'm gonna continue on with there. But like you said, it's very expensive to purchase manga physically, and
yeah.
if you follow some of the methods that maybe Karlo was talking about, sometimes it's very hard and maybe a little bit sketchy to find exactly what you're looking for. So I'm just kind of like seeing what the legal and easy and cheap possibilities there are.
Yeah. So let me look. There is a woman that I follow named Shay Tari, and she covered a bunch of manga apps. So I actually downloaded a couple to see what they were about. But from my experience and just looking at price wise, Viz is probably the best because it's the cheapest and it has the biggest library. And like I said, there are like the breakdown of chapters versus volumes in some of the series. Like there is a lot of that, but if you just go with in the mindset of like, I know I want to read Demon Slayer. Like for me, it was Demon Slayer. I wanted to read that first. I am reading Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm like, okay, that's like a new and hot anime manga.
Right.
I want to read that. And I want to get into some of the stuff that I loved as a kid. Like I want to get back into Naruto. I had never read the One Piece manga, but I watched the show as a kid, and for me, I feel like reading the manga is going to be easier for me than watching the anime because I feel like you have to give more time to the anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the value of that app, I think, shines above the rest. There is another app called Mangamo, which I discovered through the Comic-Con, virtual Comic-Con, this past summer. I have not like done a membership or anything, but I know they have a free subscription, and there are series on here I'm looking now like Attack on Titan, Seven Deadly Sins. So each app has like its own main series,
Right.
if that makes sense. Like you're gonna get something different on all of them because wanted to I wanted to be able to read some Yen Press series and see if I can get those for free. Yen Press does have an app, but I mean you have to pay for everything. So
Right.
um, I would
Yeah.
say consider what you are interested to get into and base it off of that.
Right. I was looking at trying to see like maybe I could get the Kindle versions of like these volumes, but like still even like the Kindle versions are still like $10 a volume.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even with iBooks, and Google has its own area where you can get books through there. Because I actually for some research I went to Google and like I downloaded some preview of a couple manga volumes.
Hmm.
Um, and some of them like Apple, I think, was more expensive. Google, I think, was a little bit. No, Google and Apple were like full price, and then if you like went to Amazon and bought digital, it was a little bit cheaper. Um, so if there's something out there that you really, really want digitally, I would say maybe try like price, like looking around for price. But for me, I'm like, there's just so much that I'm interested in. Like I
Mm.
just can't pay, for all of this stuff. It's just it's not sustainable. So,
I feel like
um,
as long as I feel like as long as you're not like just bootlegging it online if it's already been published in America, I feel like it's okay. Because like I said, I just found out that Nagatoro was, well, I think I said last week that I found out Nagatoro was, oh no, I said that this week.
yeah,
I found out Nagatoro had an English thing, and I had no idea. So I'm actually planning on buying the copies anyway. But I'm
yeah,
also because I really do like wholeheartedly like that series. So I mean, like,
yeah,
once I'm able to get like volume one like purchased, I'm totally gonna do that because
hmm,
it's just at least a way. Like, I feel like online, it's like you're gonna give it a chance. You're gonna try this out, and you're gonna read it. And if you don't like it, you can just stop. But normally people just keep reading, and it's a good time. So I mean, as long as we're able to kind of like put it back into the economy.
yeah. Whatever makes sense
Evening.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, I would like to own the entirety of JoJo like physically,
That
but
makes sense.
like it is my all-time favorite series. It is really the series I would say that got me into just anime and manga. It is the series that made me start reading manga. Like
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because originally I was going to wait for just part 6 to come to the animated form, and then I got impatient and I was like, all right, I'm actually going to start reading manga now. And so I feel like at some point it just seems appropriate for me to actually own the series physically. It's going to be
Why
very
not?
expensive though.
Yeah, do it in chunks if you can. I feel like JoJo's popular enough where like you could probably get
E-
most of the
each vol
volumes. Okay.
each volume is $20,
Ah, yeah.
and
Okay.
like I think part 1 is 3 volumes by itself, and then it gets really
Dang.
expensive really quick.
Okay. Well,
Hobbies
I
get
can see that.
expensive anyway.
I know.
It's
Well, now
fine.
there's manga out there that's like 13, $15 and like it's not
Oh,
that
inflation.
I don't yeah, I mean it's not that I don't appreciate the work because I definitely believe that people, especially the localizers, not that all of them, get fair
Hmm. Hmm.
payment
Yeah.
out of it, but I want to be able to pay for the work that I love, but when we get in that high, it's just hard. So that's why I've gone to digital manga now.
There was
Not
the
buying the volumes. I don't think I'll buy volumes digitally just
well,
because I rather have the physical book.
yeah.
Um,
I know
but
the
for
artist of Midnight Poppyland, like she's like from what I've noticed, like she's been just okay with like I mean obviously she makes a living as an artist and an author for like
mhm,
series. But then
yeah,
she has it in places where you can just read it for free, and she's just kind of like, yeah, I hope you guys like it. It's like this new
that's
chapter's out.
cool.
You should check it out, and it's just there where you
Yeah.
can read it, and you're like, wait, should I pay for this? She's like, nah. From what I've noticed, like she's just
Mm,
totally okay with it, unless she's said otherwise in the past 2 weeks. But yeah,
that's
like
cool. Yeah.
yeah, good
Maybe
times.
she has the rights to her stuff because I mean, if you're working with a publisher, I'm sure they're gonna be like, mm-mm. They
Kind
want
of
to have
douchey,
like,
scummy.
yeah. I hope that
Yeah.
answered your question, Kyle. I would just say do some research.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I was just looking on Amazon just now, just like JoJo volumes, and it's like part 3 of JoJo is 10 volumes long, and each of them is like a minimum of like $17.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and that's just part 3, and I think,
That's a lot of money.
but I think part 4 is currently being released right now in English. So, like, I believe part 5 through 8 hasn't even been released in English yet.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, if you do want to buy physical volumes online, you could try out the website Right Stuff.
Hmm.
Hmm.
They
I've actually heard of that.
sell, yeah, so they just sell like a whole bunch of anime, manga. They have some 18 plus stuff. Like they have everything that you can imagine. They sell figures at a discounted price, and I know they work pretty closely with some of these publishers.
Hmm.
I see Yen Press like retweet their specials all the time. Um, and they have sales every day. And like just in general, their stuff is discounted. So what you're gonna pay for like a JoJo manga full price, whatever, like 16, 18 bucks, it's probably a little bit discounted. And they have sales the year where you can get it cheaper.
Hmm.
So maybe try that. We are definitely not sponsored by Right Stuff, but just
No.
wanted to put that all out there if anyone is interested. Let's
Yeah.
see. Okay, so I'll get into what I have been watching. I have been okay, so I binged a show called Given. It has one season out so far. And I was really excited to start watching this show because their first movie just came out. It is a direct sequel to season 1. Me never hearing of the series, I saw a ton of people tweeting about it that Given movie's coming out, Given movie's coming out, like make sure you watch it. So I was like, oh, what's this movie? And like the flyer for it is just like these really cool looking guys who are in a boy band, and you're like, yeah, that looks awesome. So I it's just a movie, like just a one-off anime movie. Oh no, it is an anime series, and I am really glad that what I watched it on Crunchyroll, I think. No, I might be wrong. I think it might be on. It's on one.
Yeah.
It's either Crunchyroll or Funimation. They're gonna be merged together anyway, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Luckily, when I searched Given, the anime season 1 popped up. I was like, oh, well, I probably should watch that. And oh my gosh, it is so good.
Is it?
Yes, it is another, I guess, theme of this week. It is another boys love series,
Perfect.
but it's more mature. There are 2 characters that are in high school, but there are 2 characters who are in college, so I feel a little bit more comfortable about that. Because I am
It's
a
legal, thank God.
elder millennial, and I need to have some more of age series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say
but
the
it's-
older that I've gotten, at least, like it's been kind of like hard to like. I mean, horror Mia has been one of those rare occasions. It's been harder and harder to watch like anime that's been like and Nagatoro, but it's been harder and harder to watch like anime that are specifically focused on high school stuff. You know, it's really weird.
Yeah, I get that, and especially when it has to do with more mature relationships.
Oh yeah.
Like when you have like your shoujo animes, there's love interest, but it doesn't. It's like, oh, like I have to confess. Do they like me? Like you deal with that basically the
Yeah.
entire time with uh and that's fine. Like when it starts to get like it's teens, but then it deals with more mature relationships, that's when it's like I don't know, it starts to feel a little odd. I'll say that's not always the case, but for example, like I said, Given has the 2 high schoolers, 2 college kids, and it's another story of coming of age and realizing that you're a guy and you like guys.
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this
Okay.
whole revelation for the one character, and it's just really sweet how the relationship just there's a really really cute funny scene where the main character is starting to realize that he has feelings for a bandmate,
Mm-hmm.
and
Scott Pilgrim? No.
I don't know. I don't really know what that. um,
No, I'm
and
realizing like contextually, like I guess thinking about it now, like okay, there is reason to like some of the high school stories when they're a little bit more of like the gosh, like the more like I don't want to say like slice of life, like the more like heartfelt versions of
that
it.
yeah, I would agree. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for if I'm watching a shoujo. I want it to feel really warm and like heartfelt, and like the story makes me like feel some type of way.
Like Vampire Diaries. No, I'm just
Yeah, totally, totally.
I watched it. Like I can't deny, I watched it.
This is an anime podcast. Get off. Get out of here. Banned. You banned. Get out. My
Oh man.
my fake New Jersey accent is coming through.
All right, guys. She said it's over, so bye.
Alright, bye.
So it's like-
Please like and follow and sub. What?
Ooh. Anyway, yes, love Given the movie. I felt all of the feels because it definitely has some intense moments between like these characters trying to figure out their shit, because like some of them have one character has a really like shitty life. So seeing them figure themselves out as a band, figure themselves out individually, and then figure themselves out through like their relationships is there's a lot of heartfelt moments. So I highly recommend. I really like it, and I cannot wait till season 2.
Nice.
But that is my wrap up for what I have been doing this past week. We have been gabbing away of all of our picks and things that we like in terms of video games and anime and what have you. So we're gonna take a break so we can do a little breather.
Yes.
Everyone, grab a snack, grab a drink, and we will see you very shortly.
Yeah, thank you for sticking around.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of Bits and Pixels. Thank you so much to everybody who stuck around with us during the break. For our next segment, we actually don't have an email this week, but if you do want to send us an email, you can always send that over to bitsandpix@gmail.com. That's bitsandpix@gmail.com. If I want to sing it like the jingle, because Bree looks super disappointed in me.
Well, she's not the only one, buddy.
bitsandpix@gmail.com. Oh, I can't believe that feels so cursed. It feels such a cursed thing.
Not cursed. More.
The fact that it lines up so perfectly with that just feels cursed. Anyway, you can send us an email to bitsandpix@gmail.com. Put the subject line question in your email, and we will answer it here on the podcast. But we don't have any emails this week, so we are going to go ahead and just move right into the news section. Bree, you want to lead us off with some of this news?
Heck yeah, I do. So I'm going to open this to all three of us, since we all seem to be interested, and it's the hot topic of the week. So Pokémon is celebrating their 25th anniversary, which is crazy. We're all, the three of us are, well, Kyle, you just turned 26, but all of us were we were all like babies and toddlers when this series came out, which is awesome. But they have been doing some really interesting marketing tactics and anniversary exclusives for their 25th anniversary. As maybe some of you have seen, they this week launched a McDonald's Happy Meal that is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon themed, and you can get a Happy Meal box that has Pikachu on it, and inside, because Happy Meals usually come with like a toy or a little gift inside. Inside is Pokemon cards. And as Karlo is showing off here, this is a first time exclusive that I've ever seen. Karlo, you actually bought Happy Meals this week. How did that go?
Okay, I want to laugh at this because at the time before I bought it, I was like, I'll send you a picture. I put the picture on my my Facebook and Twitter, but I think what I really appreciate is just like at the time I wasn't thinking about how dumb it was to buy Happy Meals. I was just like, man, I would love Pokemon cards because you buy something, it's like, oh cool, it has Pokemon cards. Because like I remember as a kid, I have those Burger King like gold-plated Pokemon things.
Yes,
Like,
I wanted
you
to talk
remember
about
those?
that.
Those things are so cool.
Like,
Yes.
I'll get those in a second because I have like 5 or 6 of them. I'm still pissed that I missed one. But it's like, oh, cool. It was really good to buy as a kid, and then it reminded me of that. So I'm going in. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy these cards, and then, I was like, at the order, like, that screen in drive-through, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you know, Kyle.
Yeah.
And I was like, hi, can I have 2 Happy Meals? And then I realized, like, wait a second, I'm 28 years old, and I'm ordering Happy Meals.
It'd be like that.
What?
For Pokemon.
And I was like, I even had to double check. I was like, yeah, can I have Happy Meals? She's like, okay. And she sounded very flabbergasted. But she's like, no, all right. Oh, would you like, apple slices or extra fries? And I was like, man, apple slices. And so I had apple slices for both.
Nice.
And I got to the drive. After the paying and stuff. I got to the lady who was giving out the food, and it was like, she just looked at me, and she was laughing, and I was like, I know it's weird, but I'm really just doing this for the Pokemon cards. And she's like, honey, you're not the first one.
Right.
It's been a really interesting day today. And she was like, here you go, sweetie. And I was like, thank you. And I just laughed. But
so I don't have a problem putting myself on the spot like this. For my day job, when I'm not doing any writing or content creation, I currently work at a McDonald's as a crew member and everything. And I actually noticed a memo that said that. Oh well, before I get into that, as a life hack for anybody who is interested in acquiring these Pokemon cards without maybe purchasing a Happy Meal, maybe you want to get your regular McDonald's meal and still get the Pokemon stuff, you can purchase toys separately from buying a Happy Meal. Just ask if you can purchase a toy, like a Happy Meal toy, outside of the Happy Meal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this just for Pokemon, or is this all time?
This is all time. This is all the time.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is. Every franchise is different. I don't know how much, how much it will cost you and tax and everything like that. But you can purchase the toy separately from the Happy Meal, or if you would like to, you could buy. If you feel like maybe I need to buy a Happy Meal to conserve some sort of illusion from the people that work at McDonald's. Trust me, we work at McDonald's. We really don't care if you buy just the Happy Meal toy. There are a lot of people that will sometimes come through and they will purchase the toy because they think that in a few years it will have collector value and they can resell it. There are some people who do it just because of that. So trust me, if you are going for the toys itself, don't feel bad about not getting a Happy Meal. Just see if it doesn't hurt to ask if you can just purchase the toy by itself.
I will say, just talking more about it, like the like the typical Happy Meal boxes, like they didn't come with like the Pikachu box. I was slightly disappointed. But they came with like this little small packet, like I showed earlier, and it came with this box that fit in here. But what you do is actually, I bought two because I'm crazy. You actually got to fold these into
Exclusive.
like these. Yeah, right. You actually get to fold these, and they turn into things that hold cards in the box. So it's like, oh,
Cool.
sweet! I can have a deck box. Like I
That's kind
remember,
of cool.
like I remember when I was a kid, we wouldn't have this type of crap. And then inside,
Mhm.
like, there's a coloring thing. So it's like, it's really for kids. And I'm like, wow, I'm 28 years old. I'm going to remind myself that. The packs came with 5 cards, by the way. 4 cards, excuse me. And I lied to you. I thought I had the Charmander Charizard. It was Cyndaquil, and it wasn't shiny. So I thought
Oh.
I got it.
I mean,
But it's
Cyndaquil is better than Charizard anyway, so.
Hot take.
okay then.
Maybe we should preface, because I don't think we actually said. So with the
Yeah.
Happy Meals, you
Right,
get a Pokemon starter card from, let's see, there's 24 first partner Pokemon
Mhm.
from the different Pokemon games. And the Happy Meals are giving away the pack that Carlo is showing here if you are watching the podcast with us. If you are listening, I'm so sorry. We'll post a picture of it. That sport the Pokemon 25th logo, and there are standard cards and there are foil cards. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, like I wish it was clearer, but like you could see like the Pikachu on like the side of the card, like
Yeah.
here aside next to my dirty finger. Like so, it's really cool that like it's all like the starter Pokemon that yeah, like you said that I don't know if Pikachu's in on it,
So
but
yeah, so there it says here. I'm actually reading it from the Pokemon site because I wanted to make sure it features the 24 first partner Pokemon from the many regions of the Pokemon world plus
oh
Pikachu. So basically, what happened is that these Happy Meals launched this past week, and have be it, people who are our age, of the millennial age, we grew up with Pokemon. We want the cards. We remember, when we were kids, we had the Pokemon toys, or Burger King had the golden cards, which was like so cool.
oh god
You want to feel that little bit of nostalgia. If you still really do love Pokemon, like that's really cool. What ended up happening, which happens with a lot of things that are exclusive, is scalpers.
yep
So people started going to McDonald's and ordering tons of Happy Meals. Like I have seen pictures of people who have their full kitchen table, like 25 plus Happy Meals, that they ordered to get these cards. And those people are either throwing the food out, like not doing
okay
anything with it. They, I don't know if like they didn't know about the purchase separately thing, or they were just not nice people. But buying a bunch of food, throwing it away, like
I forgot
trying to
these
get like
things.
as many Happy Meals as they can to get these, like these are going to be
Yeah.
valuable cards. Like people who are in this industry, who are card sellers and watching the market, they're gonna, like, we know this is going to be worth a lot of money eventually. But what they're doing is
100%.
they're buying a ton of the card packs and the Happy Meals to get the cards, and they're trying to sell them online for a ridiculous amount of money, and they're not like, it doesn't allow like you and me to, because they started running out of them.
Mm-hmm.
From what I
Yeah.
understand, like the Pokemon company had to put out a message saying like, wow, like we've had a lot of interest, and we are upping production of the cards
You know,
to have
no
more.
crap, Nintendo.
Yeah. And it's really kind of, for the people who were doing that, it kind of sours the experience, and it kind of sours people like us who are like, wow, like I remember doing this as a kid. Like I kind of just want to buy one, just or two or whatever for me and my family, just to like, have as like a nostalgia thing because we grew
Yeah.
up with this. Like there's no shame. Let's destigmatize as adults ordering Happy Meals, because if I was to order food at a fast food restaurant, I like to get the kids one because it's enough food for me. I don't need the bigger one, and it's cheaper. I like that.
Okay.
So let's normalize that, and I think we're to have. If we want the cool Pokemon cards, let's get the cool Pokemon cards. But then you have the shitty people who go and ruin it for the rest of us. So that's basically the scoop on what's been going on. They're also. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just as a note, as somebody who currently works at a McDonald's, I have seen notices kind of look to combat some of the scalping stuff, there's now like a limit of 5 per person.
Okay.
Or per visit,
That's good.
rather.
But then what if you have, but what if you have like that? People are gonna think this is ridiculous, but what if you have like you actually have more than 5 kids and
well,
like,
it's
McDonald's
it's a
What'd you say?
K+8 is a thing.
Well, I mean, for personal, like I have a family who has more than 5 kids, so I'm just thinking of like I think that's great for the people who are being stupid, but
well, so it's actually it's sorry, I should have clarified. It is a limit of 5 like separate purchases of the toys of the cards by themselves without buying food. I imagine if you wanted to go in there and purchase 10 Happy Meals, they probably would be more than willing to let you purchase 10 Happy Meals because they probably make a shit ton of money off of that.
That makes sense. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Now you've had to. It's interesting to see how the companies have to react in real time to have these like limitation on things.
And I'm not sure if that's just based off of my local franchise. It could be different depending on whichever McDonald's you go to. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm curious what it's like elsewhere. But a thing that I saw people doing was, and I don't know how common it was, but there were pictures and articles circulating of people who somehow got a hold of the boxes of the Pokemon cards that were meant to be shipped to McDonald's. And for reasons that I don't know, they have a hold of these boxes full of cards and are now selling them on like resale sites for astronomically like ridiculous prices. So that's where the problems have been coming from. But other than that, I mean, it's a cool concept. I'll say that I definitely was like, oh, that's like kind of cool. Like, I don't buy from McDonald's, and I don't eat anything from McDonald's. But if I did, like, maybe I would buy one because that's kind of cool.
I definitely like how they added like these small box things for the cards. It's like, oh
yeah, that's a nice little.
And I was like, that's really nice. Like, I don't know why. Like, it was super awesome to look at. Like, I know it's really weird. Like, and I agree. Like, I just think it was one of those things where I realized, like, oh yeah, I pay my bills. I have a job. I am the face of the esports team in Albion College. I kind of do things. I think I could like get myself this little bit of a guilty pleasure of Pokemon cards. Like I feel like I deserve that. So I mean, I didn't realize though that you can like people were telling me like, oh yeah, you could buy these things without buying the Happy Meal because at least you don't have to waste the food. And then there's a part of me that's just like, why would you not want to eat the nuggets? Like McDonald's chicken nuggets aren't the best, but for some reason they just hit right. Like they're not great.
They hit.
They do. They just hit. They hit you different, and it's like super.
I can't personally say that, but I'm sure a lot of people. I see some people saying that they love the nuggets. I know as a kid I loved them too, and it was always fun to go to McDonald's or Burger King, get your Happy Meal, get your little toy, play on the jungle gym. But can you show off the cards that you got again?
Oh, right. So
tell us what you got.
I thought I was sad because I was like, man, I want a Charmander. Charmander's my favorite because it turns into Charizard. That's also my favorite next to Pikachu. Yeah, I know I'm basic.
Ooh, and he's coming after you.
Very basic.
Oh, wait a second. So I'm removing the box of a cap. One of the ones actually came with Chespin, Snivy, Sobble, and Rowlet. So here's like I think the first card had like what I've noticed has been for the 2 times has been the foil, but Chespin, Snivy, Sobble, Rowlet, and when you see the next one, I'm gonna tell you how surprised I am because I expected it to be, and I really like how it like, and I expected it to be like a little bit more like with like getting the Kanto ones, but I forget how many Pokemon are actually alive. especially when you think
A
about
lot.
how long Pokemon's been on. We're talking about One Piece. But Charmander, by the way, is my favorite Pokemon starter. For those of you who are wondering, because I have a problem.
No, no, it's a classic.
Right?
Uh,
And then I also like I forgot the I feel like bad because I forgot the one that evolves into Greninja.
oh,
Froakie.
Yes.
Thank you. I was really sad that I didn't get that one today. But I got one of my other favorites from Johto, which is Cyndaquil.
Yeah, best boy. One of the best boys.
Cyndaquil actually yeah, in the Johto
Who's
region
that?
it was my favorite. Oshawott. I actually
Okay.
remember seeing the anime and seeing Ash kind of derp around. Also good, Charmander guy in the chat.
Piplup.
Piplup. And then I got Turtwig actually. I wasn't
Oh.
ever a huge fan of
Oh, yeah.
Turtwig in Pokemon in general, but like I'm not a huge grass type Pokemon person.
Ooh, what's
I'm
your type though?
fire and girls.
Oh.
Water.
Oh,
I'm
Water?
water too. Yeah.
oh. Damn.
I
guess
mean,
that-
they're all adorable, but I'll choose water.
Greninja's a rare thing then for me because I was like, oh
Mm.
man, Greninja's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like I said, it's definitely nice to see. I for some reason, like I said, forgot that there are a lot of Pokemon now. I think it's over what 800.
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
I was just doing like a trivia, and literally one of the questions were which Pokemon is number 2 something, and I was like, what? And I was so confused, and then someone was like, "Oh, it's a Tyranitar," and I was so surprised they got that right.
Damn.
So yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon, and
Wow.
yeah,
All
people
right.
remember
Like,
it. Yeah,
I knew-
25th anniversary.
I knew, I 200. I knew it would be Johto, but I couldn't tell you exactly who it would be based
Yeah.
off of that.
There's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, it definitely like it. I think it's a cool thing that they're doing, what
Mhm.
Pokemon is doing for the anniversary, and it's nice that we actually get to enjoy it over here. I mean, Pokemon has been very big in the U.S. as well,
Yeah.
and global, but Japan gets a lot of nice anniversary stuff, and we don't always get it because it's not as big. But Pokemon is one of those things. So the other event that they're doing,
Talk about big things.
Okay, I'll stop laughing.
Wait.
This was announced today. Am I correct? Today?
Yeah.
Okay. It was announced
Today, by
that
the way, February 11th. For those of you who are
Thank
listening
you.
in the future.
yes, February 11th is when we're recording this. It was announced today that Pokemon is doing a collaboration with Post Malone to do a virtual concert at the end of this month, which is February 27th. That is a Saturday. And they turned him into like a virtual musician.
There's a tweet.
Person.
There's a tweet,
There's
right?
tweets.
Yeah.
There's tweets.
It's just so funny to me. Like, yeah, of every recording artist that's out there, the first one that I think of when I think about Pokemon is Post Malone. That's just...
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know why. I have not seen any of the. I've only seen like the part where they transform him from person to virtual musician, and it is something to behold.
Like
It's like that weird, huh? Sorry.
I was just gonna say he's incredibly popular. I just don't understand what he exactly has to do with Pokemon. But then again, I wouldn't know of a recording artist that I would associate it with Pokemon. You know?
I mean, what does Travis Scott have to do with Fortnite? Is a question, because remember how I don't know if you knew this, but Fortnite, I believe last year, I swear there was a concert before that, but they announced like a Fortnite concert. Oh yeah, maybe it was last year because of COVID. Travis Scott was like, "Hey, I want to have a concert," and it was in Fortnite of all places.
Yeah. I guess I feel like the difference between Pokemon and Fortnite in this case would be like that was just like a thing of like, oh, this will be a cool experiment that we can do. Travis Scott is going to do a concert inside of Fortnite. This is like the big 25th anniversary of Pokemon, and they're like, oh, to celebrate, we're going to do a virtual concert for it. And you know what? We got the biggest Pokemon fan we know, Post Malone. Like, it just feels like a completely different thing, I guess, to me. Like,
It does.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't know much about Post Malone. I don't know if he's a Pokemon fan or if that has anything to do with it. He
And he
is
might
rather
be.
young. He might be, and that would be great. I'm wondering. I mean, it's likely that this is just for more reachability, like people who are maybe around our age. I feel like a good amount of people who are in the chat are around our age. I think like Post Malone. I have a sister who's a couple years younger than me who loves Post Malone. So I think that's kind of like the target market, and then younger. I don't know how the younger generations, if they like Pokemon as much as we did growing up. But part of me feels like, oh, we want to like put on a cool marketing event for our 25th anniversary in the US. It has to, like, you see, like you were just saying, you see more and more of these collaborations, and I think it's just to reach wider audiences, and I think that probably had something to do with it. Who knows? There might have. Ooh, you put a little picture up.
Yeah, but I have included an image of Post Malone.
I wanted to point out to you guys, when you asked if he liked it, I had to double check to make sure. But on Entertainment Weekly, he puts out. Entertainment Weekly, he actually puts out that for on the 25th anniversary, he's liked this ever since he was like a kid. So
sense, right? A lot of people our age did and
he's
still
25.
do. Yeah, he is 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought because I wanted to see. I was like, does he actually like it? Like, because I remember Ronda Rousey was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. So I was like surprised.
Oh, okay.
Like MMA fighter Ronda Rousey likes Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. So it's really weird. It's really weird to hear like, for example, I believe it's Mike Daniels. He was a former Green Bay Packers football player. He's a huge anime fan. I learned that like a couple of years ago when I was talking to Shira Millet, because she was because she's a huge the voice actress is a huge Packers fan too, and so just seeing just listening to like all these really interesting people like actually like some of the things that we like, because back in our day anyway, like those things, we would be called like a nerd, and it was not the cool kids. But it's just nice to see like, oh yeah, Pokemon's the shit now. Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah. So I think it'll be interesting. What are your feelings? Are you guys gonna tune in?
I'm probably gonna watch it just to check it out, so I could have something to talk about.
I'm sure that I will probably check out like a couple of minutes of it. Like, Post Malone's music doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but I mean, it seems like a neat kind of thing. I'll probably do the same thing that I did with the Travis Scott concert, where I'll basically see most of it as highlights on Twitter.
So what you're telling me though basically is that we should do a live stream commentary of this concert.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't.
It is suggested.
Kyle's so done with us.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
Like,
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
No, I think I'm gonna tune in as well, just out of pure curiosity, because like VTubers are big now. You see that everywhere.
VTubers rule.
Yeah.
I love VTubers.
One thing that I thought of immediately when this was announced was Miku. I was like, Miku?
I still have her games on my PS4.
I'm surprised that they don't have Hatsune Miku doing this concert.
Vocaloid.
They're doing it in Japan, though. I have no idea. I didn't look into it. I have no idea what Japan's like promotional events. I don't know if they have a concert going on, what they're doing.
Yeah. I remember like it was really weird seeing. I feel like it all started when. Do you guys remember David Letterman, the late night show guy? Yeah, I remember that they had Hatsune Miku actually there with David Letterman.
I didn't know that.
This is awkward as hell. It was super awkward to watch. Like, I remember how cringy it was
Oh,
because
sure.
he's just like asking her questions. I was just like, how? Like, how is this even remotely working? And it was just weird. And I saw comments. It was like, yeah, that was super awkward. I was like, I know. David Letterman's like, what the hell is going on? So, it's but I mean, I'm glad that from that moment, it's gotten better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as you can clearly see, you guys have never heard of it, and that's a great thing. You've never seen that video before.
I don't think I'll look it up. I don't feel like it.
But yeah. What else do we got, by the way, for news, Bree?
Yeah, let's if you're okay with me rolling into my section here. I have 2 video game announcements that I'm really excited about.
Go for it.
So the first announcement here is the new Story of Seasons Olive Town, which I briefly mentioned in an episode before, because they offer marriages between male and female, and the same gender. It's basically opposite sex and same sex marriages is what I was trying to say. Excuse me for saying that weird the first time. This is coming to Olive Town is coming to the Switch March 23rd. So currently it's on pre-order in the Nintendo eShop. It looks really adorable. If you're familiar with the series, it's basically a farm community simulator. It's very adorable. I was kind of on my spiel earlier when I was talking about Calico. This is the game where you have farm, you have to raise your own animals, you have to raise your own crops, sell them, make money, make your what is the word word I'm looking for? You have to basically make a living, and you have to help bring more business to the town that you reside in, and then you can also build up relationship credit with the different villagers in the town, and you can eventually marry one of them of your choice. So again, this is coming out March 23rd. If you pre-order, there's a little bonus costume that you could get, which I thought was really adorable because I kind of fell off the series. I didn't know that like costumes were a thing. I don't know if this is just a pre-order bonus, but you can get a buffalo costume where you look like a little black buffalo with horns, and it looks really cute.
That sounds adorable.
Yay. Yeah. I'm interested in the game because I actually do like Story of Seasons. I played the series when it used to be called Harvest Moon. And I really do like those games, and I fell off of the series for a long time, and I do want to get back into it. I need something to fill my time that isn't Animal Crossing. So I do want to try this game out. The next bit of my video game news for you tonight is groundbreaking, in my opinion.
Oh,
For those of you, yes. For those of you who have listened to the podcast or know me personally, you probably know that I'm a big Demon Slayer fan.
What? You
they
are?
announced.
Oh, that's cool.
I am. Who knew? I have no idea. I didn't binge 10 volumes of the manga in less than a week. Good. Yes, I am feverishly waiting for the movie that did so well in Japan, which again hit another milestone. I think they surpassed I think it was like 30 million something yen. It could be more than that. It was a big number that they just hit a record for recently for the movie. Aside from that, Demon Slayer's got a lot going on. They've been hitting a lot of records. They've been putting out a lot of great stuff. Now they're putting out a video game.
You know, that's the quickest I've ever heard an anime give out a video, like make a video game. Because I mean, I remember
like that.
Attack on Titan. It took like a year or so, or two, like even probably 2.
Yeah.
To get that taken care of, and now it's like, what? So.
Yeah, exactly. It very quick turnaround, and it makes you think like either they had really great projections to think, oh, I think this is going to do well, and we should just naturally do a let's get in and do a video game, or they just had a super quick turnaround. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but to give you the scoop, the game is going to be called Demon Slayer Kami Keputan, and it is basically a action RPG game. It's going to be developed by the studio called CyberConnect 2. With anyone who is kind of like a fan of theirs, or know who play other anime action RPGs, they have made the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series, as well as the Dragon Ball Kakarot game that
Okay.
recently came out.
Now I
Yeah.
like it. That's kind of nice to know. And, I love the Ultimate Ninja Storm was one of those really weird slash good fighting games. And then
Yes.
I don't know if you remember like Dragon Ball Fighter. Sorry, not Dragon Ball Fighter. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z Budokai, or Budokai Tenkaichi. Like those games were so fun, and so it's kind of nice to see that it's like they're kind of like revitalizing those areas of like gameplay.
Yeah. So
Like that's a
there's
trope for anime games, but
yeah, no, it's great, and I think I think this is I'm really happy to see that Demon Slayer is getting a video game, because it just gives us more Demon Slayer, and I will take any and all of it. That being said, so to give you a little bit of insight of how the game plays, what you can expect, there have only been a couple announcements made. Back in the summer, they announced that the game was coming to PS4. Recently, on Monday, the official Twitter account for the Hinokami Keputan game announced that it will be coming to PS5, Xbox Series, so like Xbox S and all of those. I'm not an Xbox person, so look it up.
The Series X, Series S, and Xbox One probably.
Yeah. And it will also be coming out for PC. There's no mention of if it will to Switch. I have an inclination that maybe eventually it will, but Nintendo is kind of slow with either making deals or picking up these type of games. But they do eventually get the port over, as we've seen with Naruto, Ultimate Ninja Storm, and some of the other games that are made by popular anime production companies. But basically, it has two different modes. There is a solo story mode, as well as a versus mode. So the game supports up to 1 to 2 people playing in versus mode, or so like you could play together, or you can play online, and that is strictly for versus mode. And you are able to pick between different Demon Slayer characters to fight with. Again, if you are familiar with the previous titles that I mentioned, it does look like the game will play very similarly to those. It looks like you have yeah, so I don't know how the story mode is going to play out. There haven't been any promotional videos. I was able to get access to watch two videos that the production company put out on their Japanese website. I don't know if it's available for everyone, but I was able to finagle my way and watch those. So I did get a sneak peek of the gameplay. I will say that whether you are able to watch the video or you see some of the key visuals that they put out in their press release, the key visuals are made by the animators who made the key visuals for the Demon Slayer animation. So it is like spot on. The animations, the visuals are like to the T from the anime. It looks gorgeous. And when there's some shots of Tanjiro doing his water breathing style, it looks really, really good. So I'm just really amped to see like these characters in action and how their moves end up looking. But in the press release, you mostly just see them fighting between the 4 main characters, which is Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zansu, and Inosuke. So you see those 4 characters. There isn't mention or any inclination that you'll be able to play as the others, but as I imagine with the other games, you most likely will be able to unlock them through story mode. again, a lot of this is speculation, but just from what I know from the other series that this development company has put out, it's likely that the game will play like this.
Hmm.
But in terms of the story, it seems to start out for the final selection part of the story, which is I think around episode, like sometime after episode 5. I don't know if you play, like you get to see, I'm sure there'll be cutscenes of like when Nezuko turns into a demon and going to Urodaki and training with him, but in terms of like what they've released so far, you see Tanjiro fighting the oh gosh, what is his name? The hand demon. The one who's like really big in the forest and is like, he's the one who killed all of the disciples of Urodaki. So that's what we see in the promotional video so far.
Oh,
I'm sure there will be more updates of what we can expect this coming year. But they did say that the game will be released in 2021. That is the plan. So
okay.
that is all the scoop that I could get from their website and what they put out on Twitter. So I hope that is helpful for anyone who is interested in the game now or who really, really loves Demon Slayer. I'm super interested. Based on that, what do you two think? What are your thoughts on it based on the information I gave, or are you excited about it? What you got?
There's like two. I feel like there'll be two areas, that may make it better. It's either that it'll go the route of because it's like if it has similar mechanics to like Ultimate Ninja Storm, I feel like it would definitely be more of a casual game at that sense. Like it wouldn't be more of like a mainstream esports title like Fighter Z. And even then, Fighter Z is, in my opinion, still kind of breaking that a little bit. However, I mean, there could be a possibility that, especially given the circumstances, that game does really well for as an anime, because anime fighters are a thing, and that could be one of those games that could make an appearance hitting that area. I mean Dragon Slayer is pretty famous for sure. Demon Slayer is I was thinking of Dragon Ball Z.
Nice.
Demon Slayer is definitely famous for sure, but I think for a while it may look really great casually. It may actually hit better than Jump Force. And Jump Force was like just an amalgamation of shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like even having, because they've got, I believe, I was looking at it because I forgot, they've got Yoruichi from Bleach and Giorno from JoJo in the game as like a second season DLC, which by the way I thought you would appreciate, Kyle. So I'm hoping it doesn't go down the Jump Force route where they just kind of have the random shenanigans happening. But it, like, based on what you said, it does sound promising for sure.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if this is going to be a game and similar to like that they're going to release in installments, because the idea is you're able to play, like what they say on the website is you're able to relive the story of the anime series. The anime series only has season 1 out, and not for us yet in the United States, but Mugen Train should also be considered because that is a part of the original story from the manga, and it's basically like the direct sequel to season 1 going into season 2. So I'm curious if they're going to break this up into like 2 different games, because there's I want to say Demon Slayer maybe has 1 or 2 more seasons for the anime, and maybe another movie if they're lucky, or they want to like throw that in towards the end. So I'm wondering if this is going to be like Ultimate Ninja Storm, where they just, as the series continues to go on, then they'll release a new game. Because if that's the case, then we'll probably only get content up to season 1, potentially into Mugen Train, and then another game released a couple years later.
It could be like that. I mean, Dragon Ball Xenoverse was a thing, and then a year or 2 later, here's Xenoverse 2. So,
yeah, Kyle, go ahead.
I think that's the most likely case scenario. That tends to be the situation with these like 3D arena fighters like that. That's what they did with the My Hero Academia game as well.
Mhm.
For me, as much as I love Demon Slayer, I'm probably not going to play this game because 3D arena fighters don't do anything for me. I like, when it comes to fighting games, which I don't play that often, I like 2D fighters, and I don't know, my experience with 3D arena fighters already is kind of limited, but I played Budokai back in the Dragon Ball Z Budokai back in the day. I liked that, and then probably my most recent experience is Jump Force when it came to the Xbox Game Pass, and that game is really, really bad. Like, honestly, like, truly and honestly, like, it's cool because you can be like, oh man, who would win in a fight between Goku and Naruto, and then it's like, I don't know who's better at fighting games. Like that, like that's ends up being the real question. I jumped into that game so I could play as Jotaro and Dio, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. This is how
Jump Force.
Yeah, and Jump Force. Yeah. I like, this is definitely how Jotaro and Dio would fight, and I'm gonna uninstall this game because because so they have like all these different art styles for these characters, and they meld them all into one thing. They have to come up with a unifying art style, and the art style they came up with was just so damn ugly. I'm sorry to say it, like, it's like they tried to make the characters look too realistic, and like those trailers are already hard to watch as it is, but when you play the game it's even harder to watch because it just looks even worse.
I mean, All Might being in it does make me feel better for sure. I think All Might is in it.
Yeah, All Might's in it. They added Bakugo in there as well, as far as
Todoroki too.
And Todoroki, as far as like they added a bunch of My Hero characters, and yeah, they added Giorno. Giorno is definitely one of my least favorite JoJo's. He's got a killer theme, but I think he's got a shit personality. So, but like,
what a garbage character.
Regardless, I think this will be cool for the people who already like 3D arena fighters, but I don't think it's going to do anything for anybody who isn't already invested in that genre. You know what I mean?
It could always be like the One Punch Man's video game where, you fight and wait till Saitama gets there.
Yeah.
Saitama wins. Like it was a weird thing to go with, but like games like that, like great concept. Yeah, it's definitely not going to go anywhere past casual stuff. But I mean, I'm not saying it's like games have to be not casual. But I mean, at the very least, it was creative. So
yeah.
I look forward to Demon Slayer being a bit more on the creative side.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot to live up to with the series. So I hope that they just only do it justice and don't try to fit the mold of the formula 100%.
Yeah. And again, I'll reiterate that I am speaking from a place of like, this is not my genre of game. Like there is a JoJo 3D arena fighter, a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Eyes Over Heaven, and as much as I think I would like the JoJo parts of that game really appeal to me, obviously. I know I'm not going to have a fun time with that game, even as much as big of a fan of JoJo as I am.
I'm definitely really surprised because I was like, I'm surprised he doesn't like that game, and now you just answered everything I was going to ask you about Jump Force. But
I've seen enough clips of Eyes Over Heaven to know that I wouldn't like that game to like. Like, I would like the aspect. I would like what it is, but I wouldn't like playing it. You know.
Yeah.
There are other JoJo games that I am more interested in. I've played JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: The Seventh Sand User, which is a RPG maker game based off of one of the JoJo parts where you play as a completely unique character and you're assigned a stand. I really want to play JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: Last Survivor, which is a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Battle Royale game. That sounds really, really dope, but it's Japan only right now, and I can't get in. I want it real bad.
Time to go.
But 3D arena fighters are just not for me, even as much as I love Demon Slayer.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, I will definitely, because I'm probably going to be watching this story really closely because I'm also personally creating content around it. I will update everyone as soon as I know, so expect that. But I'm looking forward to what other news pieces we got.
Oh
Take us
boy.
away.
Yeah. So for those of you who I don't know if we brought this up, but Horimiya, I wanted to bring this up at least now. It was actually announced on Friday last week, and that's what, February like 5 or something?
Yeah.
February 5? Yeah, I think it was February 5th. It was They actually announced that Horimiya would be voiced by people of color. And what I really liked about it is that there were a lot of people voiced by that were voiced by people of color. And so, like, aside from Marissa Duran and Alejandro Saab, which, by the way, the latter is was the voice for Yuri in Fire Emblem Three Houses. So really, really cool voice, and so it's nice to hear those two. They do a really good job on that end, for sure. However, I do want to bring up, um, I'll have to like bring up some credits later on, but Toru, the one of the friends, is voiced by Zeno Robinson. I believe Zeno Robinson was also had a voice recently in one of the Pokemon. Yep, in one of the Pokemon anime series. I believe it's. I think it was. I'll look for it really fast. It was Pokemon. It's the one with Go, like the one next to Ash. I don't know if you've seen it, Bree, but it's
Oh, speaking of Pokemon, we actually just got a new follower.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you, Empty Grin. As you saw, a little Pikachu popped up. So anytime you follow us live on our live stream, a little Pikachu comes up. Perfect timing for our Karlo looking up the voice actor in Pokemon.
Thank you. I'm trying to remember what it was for, like, which Pokemon series. It was the one that Pokemon Journeys. Thank you. It was Pokemon Journeys.
Oh, okay.
So Zeno Robinson's the voice of Go. That's the person who's the foil, the trainer. Who's the foil to Ash. And we all know who Ash is, so that's cool.
He's old news.
Who's Ash?
Who? Someone's like 10 years. He's been 10 for 20 years. What the heck? Yuki Yoshikawa is voiced. I believe that's I can't remember whose friend she was. I'm pretty sure it's the female protagonist's friend. But
yes, I think her name's Yuki, right?
Yep, Yuki Yoshikawa. I'm gonna butcher this name really hard. I'm gonna do my best to say this correctly. Aniris Quinones. I don't know how to say her name, and I feel so bad that I may or may not have butchered it. But she is the voice actress for Nessa in Pokemon as well. So,
dope.
Yeah, I know, and she's really good. Twilight Wings, by the way, and I love Nessa in Pokemon. Anyways, I know she's cool. Shu Ira is voiced by Young E Chang, or I believe it's just he went by Y Chang, so I've never heard of his voice for sure. Like the next several people, I've never heard of them, voices wise. Kakeru Sengoku is Belshazzar Rusape. Remy Ayasaki, Jalitza Delgado, and Kono Sakura, Celeste Perez. So I'm kind of excited. Like, I believe in Funimation right now, 4 episodes are out without having a membership. I don't know how that works, but the 5th one you have to be subscribed. I don't know how Funimation works. Thank you. So I don't know when they do release. I think they do release in relation to when Japan has their release, from what I've noticed, because I think there's only 6 episodes right now in Japan.
So right now on Funimation, specifically for Horimiya, because I've been watching the show, there are 5 episodes available. 4 are free, and those are simulcast.
Okay.
About a similar time from when Japan gets theirs. The
Okay.
typically dubs come after. So I think you may have told me that the dub is on episode 1.
Actually, they have 5 now.
Oh, they have all 5?
They have the 5. Like the 5th one, obviously, you have to subscribe for. So I'm like,
well, that's good.
This is interesting. Yeah.
I love
might
it.
actually consider watching it a little bit sooner than later. So, But yeah, no, like, and Bree would also probably tell you to do so, so I'll do this for her as well. You should totally watch Horimiya, whether it's in English and Japanese. But again, I've got, in my personal opinion, I've got a lot of representation in this show, and it makes me want to watch this a little bit more now, knowing who the voices are. So
We
um,
love we love seeing it.
You love
I
to
hope
see it.
I hope Yuki's VA doesn't like come out and own me because I butchered her name. Anyways, E3 is going to be, I believe, a thing. There was a tweet that said the ESA is planning on a digital E3 for 2021. Kyle, you look like you want to say something about it.
You're in pain.
I've got a lot of opinions about E3. Um, so basically, when it came to E3 2020, there were a lot of rumors about what that show was going to be before it eventually canceled because of COVID. And it was going in a direction that a lot of people were not happy about. A lot more focus on activations and marketing on the actual like show floor, and a lot less focus on the actual games itself, kind of catering more to the people that were there at the event. You have a lot of things with like people who pulled out of E3, like obviously Sony has been out of the E3 game for a couple of years now. Same thing with Nintendo. Excuse me. But yeah, I don't really know what the place of an E3 is anymore.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that when E3 was dissolved, like when E3 didn't happen last year, you have a lot of different companies who ended up coming up with their own ideas of what they could do. And it led to a lot of self-discovery as far as, oh, hey, we don't have to pay six-digit sums to be a part of E3. Instead, we can host our own event, stream on our own time, so that way we are on our own media schedule, so that way we're not getting buried in the news cycle. And it's going to be a lot cheaper, and we can kind of just choose to do it whenever. Why? Like, people don't need E3, don't really need E3 anymore, as sad as that is. Like, and yeah, it's interesting that they are kind of trying to frame this as like we need E3 as a way to like kind of band the industry together and make a statement. Like, what is this? What I don't understand.
You know, and it's really funny because like as weird as that sounds, I think and I know we talked really poor. We had like mixed reviews on this, but I feel like even the Game Awards does E3 a lot better than E3 does half the time.
Well, Jeff Keighley used to be the producer. Jeff Keighley, who runs the game, is the executive producer of the Game Awards, used to be the executive producer of E3 as well, and he jumped ship after hearing what was the way that the show was going to be going in 2020. I Am 8-Bit was the creative directors for E3 2020, and they jumped ship. Then you have a lot of people in the content creation and the game journalism side of things who don't necessarily are still a little non-trusting of the ESA after their handling of 2019, when the ESA leaked all of their personal information through their public website. So again, it just kind of leads into this thing of like, you can do a virtual E3, sure you can, of course. Why wouldn't you? But what is the purpose of even a virtual E3?
And I think really, like, from every video I've seen pre-2019, it's just like it's always fun to watch E3 because of you getting to see like, oh look, you get to try out some of these games, you get to try out some of the new technology that's going to be coming out. And I think like having the expo was just really awesome to see like some of the next level things. Like I think, I believe if I'm correct, if my memory serves correct, because I'm that old, you know, I remember when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was announced and it was at E3, so people actually got to try demos of that. And as someone who enjoys Smash, personally, it's just like that's kind of what I actually liked E3 about for. I mean, has it honestly lost its luster? Probably. But I mean, like I said too, like I feel like the Game Awards definitely does that better than E3. And Jeff Keighley, I feel like Jeff Keighley would do a great job if he had the ability to decide what to do
But I mean,
with it. But
he is, because he ended up running Summer Games Fest last
yeah,
year, and he's doing that again this year. So I just kind of continues to drive home the fact that it's like you've got
what's the
people
point?
doing this independently without the help of the ESA. Don't get me wrong. I feel like in America, obviously, the ESA is the governing body of like what video games look like in America, because otherwise we have to deal with the actual government when it comes to regulating video games. But like, besides the actual like governing body and like the ESRB section, what is the point of the ESA? And the ESA is going to push for us to do for E3 to happen, because apparently, according to a report, E3 makes up about 50% of their annual revenue every year. So, without doing E3, they don't make a lot of money. So, which I don't know. I think last year really proved the fact that if you're going to do E3, you got to find a new way to do E3. You can't do E3 business as usual anymore. It's got to be.
No, I mean, like, especially with a pandemic, like every person, like, as much as they could, and I mean, yeah, there were places that shut down, and I'm not saying everybody was successful about it. It's just every last person in the planet called Earth has had to adjust to everything that has happened because of the pandemic, and I will adamantly stand by that, because you like, from local businesses to even smaller cities, like, and probably even some of the like some of the smaller towns, like it's not business as usual. Like, if for people to be successful at the very least, and this is not like, and this is if everything was perfect, like, we have to be able to just readjust and do like what we can based on what is available. Like it still kind of bothers me that that a lot of the smaller like the smaller restaurants, the local restaurants, there were those that shut down, for reasons that are not their fault. But even them, at least until the end, like, they had to figure out what they want, like how they needed to do things. So I mean, E3 is not E3, the ESA, in my opinion, would not be any different from that sense. Like, find ways to readjust this. I mean, the esports world has been able to figure out how to, luckily enough, able to get these streamed onto Twitch, because that's why esports has been at a huge surge within the past year. It's just, again, that readjustment to just the current event, the current thing around us right now.
Yeah.
So I agree. I feel like USA definitely does have to do a lot of readjustments if they want to make it work.
Especially when there are other gaming conventions that are just doing every aspect that E3 has decided that they're going to do. There are other gaming conventions that are just straight up doing it better than them. If you want the actual like live hands-on experience, go to one of the many PAX events that there are. If you want like exclusive world premieres and like stuff like that, then you go to Gamescom, you go to the New Game Plus Expo, you go to the Game Awards. Like, there are, or you could literally host your own event, and it's so much cheaper. E3 at this point does not have an identity that makes sense for these game developers to spend upwards of 6 figures to be a part of the event.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But and and talking about some of the figures too, I mean, like, there's even more bullcrap in the world of gaming, because I think 2 days ago, February 9th, I think it was February 9th. Let me look here. Yep, February 9th. Even CD Projekt Red was hit by a cyber attack. The creators of Cyberpunk 2077, everyone's favorite game of 2020, and The Witcher 3. Though the creators of those games, they were actually hit by that attack, and they had no idea who it was. But apparently the note said, you have 48 hours to come to an agreement, or they will threaten the individual will threaten to leak or sell source code / information. And I'm hearing another laugh from your favorite cyber watcher.
No, I'm just stifling a laugh because of the part of the ransom note that says you've been epically pwned, like we're in fucking 2005 or something.
Yeah,
You've been epically
that's
pwned.
another part.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, CD Projekt Red like published the ransom note online, has been put their own statement out, basically be like, we don't negotiate with terrorists, but like that kind of thing. And I don't know, man. Like, I believe that this is a real ransom note, and that this is a real thing. And apparently, sources within CD Projekt Red have told reporters that this is a real thing, and that this isn't like. But God, there's just something about the fact that it says like you've been epically pwned that makes me feel. It makes it feel like there's just some out of touch like marketing dev somewhere that was just like, oh man, you want to get people talking about us back in a positive light. Of course, that's 99% likely that's not what's happening here, that it is an actual like real threat. But man, there was just something about reading a notepad statement that said you've been epically pwned in the year 2021 that just sends a shiver down your spine, doesn't it?
It's so weird because like the last time I heard epically pwned was in high school, like in terms of like and that was like Halo for me,
Right. That was such a Halo thing.
Right.
That it just feels like, please go back to the cave that you've crawled out from.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it sucks that it's most likely real. It's just, it's so unfortunate that like it. I know Cyberpunk 2077 did not have the best release, and honestly, probably one of the worst releases of 2020 or the decade ever.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, like I feel like you're endangering like a lot of people's jobs too that probably don't even deserve that,
Yeah, that's not deserved. Like that's never okay, right? Like,
yeah.
I think we talked about this, I believe also for Cyberpunk 2077. You can put out like not a great work, or a creative might make something that you don't like. That does not mean that you get to turn around and do things like putting in a ransom note and like telling them that you have their data and you're gonna leak it. It's not okay for you to do that, to exploit people. It's also like, I don't know if it was specifically this game, but like people giving death threats to creatives in the industry who work for these companies or who are putting out work that you don't agree with, like,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
It's not. And I mean, like, at the very least, I do kind of hope that CD Projekt Red is able to figure those shenanigans out. I mean, because it sucks. Fortunately, it doesn't affect us specifically, but in the grand scheme of things, like, this can happen with anybody.
Yeah.
And it sucks just in general, like that.
Right.
It's it's that feeling of like, yep, it definitely does send shivers to my spine, because I don't even know who did it, and I know I have friends. I have friends who don't do specific things like that. So this is honestly, like, when you think about it, honestly, a little bit on the scary side. So,
For sure.
Into better gaming news, The Last of Us, for those of you who don't know, is a really great game on the PlayStation 3/4, and you should totally get that if you get the chance, the remaster version, because they are going to be releasing an HBO series of The Last of Us, and I wanted Hugh Jackman because he's sexy, and he has the dad vibes too for being sexy, and I'll say it, Hugh Jackman. Is there anything the man can sing? He's Wolverine. Like, can he not? Is there something he can't do? I don't know. Listen to his accent. You'll still feel wet. And that's kind of my thing with Hugh Jackman. I would definitely love Hugh Jackman, but
We've deviated.
yeah, a little bit. But
you got somebody just as sexy instead.
the thing is with The Last of Us, like I love that game series. That's why I was kind of
Mhm.
like passionate about the whole like The Last of Us 2 stuff because it sucks. How the creation of that went. However, The Last of Us has the star Pedro Pascal to play as Joel, and
Yeah.
looking at it, I'm actually not I'm actually not mad at that. I was actually pretty like impressed. I mean, looking at the person himself, like it seems like it was a really good choice for that matter. And
Mm.
this was a little bit more on the different side of it too in terms of casting. Uh, the last of the people who created who were doing this, they had Game of Thrones breakout Bella Thorne. Oh, sorry, Why I say Bella Thorne? Bella Ramsey, and they were like, "This doesn't look like Ellie." And then I was like, "Well, here's the thing. You can always disagree, or like we said earlier, you can always disagree and not have the same opinions as someone else. But it sucks when you're already shutting down the choices that have been created without giving you a chance.
Mm.
After the chance happens, it's like people saying we don't like Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker, and we haven't. We only were basing it off of Episode 1. So not really a fair point to make. Like at the very least, I remember watching episode 2 of Star Wars and I was like, okay, this actor kind of sucks, but he's all right. Um it's kind of the same idea here where it's like, you have someone who doesn't look like Ellie. Pedro Pascal doesn't look remotely close to Joel.
He looks
I mean,
better
he
than
is kind of
Joel.
close to it. Huh?
He looks better than Joel.
He kind of does look better than Joel.
Pedro
But it's like,
Pascal rules.
yeah, that's why I'm not even mad. That's a very good choice. Um, so I mean, I am looking forward to like, and I never look forward to like things made by HBO or that aren't Game of Thrones, HBO or Netflix series. So I'm kind of interested in this, and I don't know what people think about this, but I have heard that people don't like specific choices. But I mean, suck it. I think these are great choices. Like, I just personally trust a lot of the directorial choices. I mean, that's kind of why I like Robert Downey Jr. and stuff like that. So I mean, people choose people for a reason, especially when they're really good shows. I do have faith with on the series for sure. So hopefully it looks great. I kind of actually can't wait to see what they do with like the clickers and stuff because I cried when I played through that in the game. I was cornered and it sucked. So yeah. What do you guys think of The Last of Us casting? Bree, I don't even know if you knew about that.
Didn't, and I
Okay.
feel as though I probably can't give much of an opinion because I don't know too much about it.
No, well, that's fair.
But you know
But from what
Pedro.
you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, no, from what you were saying, the people who are casting it,
Mm-hmm.
I think they very much deserve it, and I am a big fan now of Pedro Pascal. So I think it should be an interesting show. So
Oh, yeah.
give it a try, probably.
Did y'all see that
Yeah.
story that was going around with Pedro Pascal about his sister coming out as a trans woman? And like
I
his
did
Coming
not.
to what?
coming out as a trans woman.
No, I didn't know that.
So I guess his sister went to him first of like everybody when coming out about it, and like his response was something along like "This is incredible," and it was just like super duper supportive about it.
Oh.
It
Yeah,
that's why
that's
I
cool.
Pedro Pascal is like
I
he's
like that. I
he,
love that.
he's a great actor, but also it just seems like a genuinely good human being, and I'm like,
He does, yeah.
double thumbs up from Kyle.
Um, I guess talking more about more good news because this kind of like leads like these are two things that kind of go together, so it gets to be one piece of news before I end my segment of news. For those of you who are into voice acting and stuff like that, the VA, also fellow Filipino, Faye Mata was actually got accepted to be the content creator in Panda Global. If you don't know who Panda Global is, oh boy, it's one of the best one of the best esports and well-known esports organizations in America. And Faye Mata, for those of you who don't know, is the voice of Aqua in Konosuba, writer of Black, I think, writer of Black in Fate Apocrypha, Petra and Fire Emblem Three Houses. She is voiced a lot. She's actually been in Sword Art Online too, and does a really great job. She is one of the content creators next to Anna Kramling, which, by the way, talking about her, because of her, they actually started doing a thing based on the Queen's Gambit. For those of you who don't know that, Queen's Gambit is a movie about chess. A show about chess, and the main protagonist, and she does like a super cool job in beating the crap out of people in chess. And so Panda Global did a charity event for BCRF Cure, which is the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And I personally like this because my mom had breast cancer. So when I see cool things like this, I get super excited. I got to watch a little bit of this. And so I got to see players who I never would think of them playing chess. But I was like, okay, I can see it now. Like, you've got one of the world's best Pikachu, Esam, was in it. You've got Mango, who is one of the gods of Melee. Leffen, the God Slayer himself from Melee. You've got all these really cool Smash players, and they're playing chess for charity, and I loved it a lot. Grand finals, by the way, Hugs beat Void 2.5 to 1.5 in grand finals, so that was really awesome. And they raised the Smashers Gambit. They raised a total of $10,000, $10,138.35 for the Research Foundation. So yeah, it was just really cool to see Panda Global doing that stuff, and and making huge moves, like getting a voice actor to be a part of their organization. That's I believe they're one of the first organizations to do so, to get a voice actor to be represented in that sense. So kind of a nice time. And also a slightly fun fact, Faye Mata is also she's also a former professional gamer too. So Smash Bros.
Very cool.
Neat.
Fact. But yeah, that's it for me. Like, I'd like to at least start off with the bad news and go into good news, and going into more good news. Hopefully, Kyle is there standing with, I guess, more good news. Would like to think with that good news.
I got a bunch of weird news. I'm not necessarily going to take it in the same order that I have it listed here on our run. Well, first of all, we finally got a release date for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is the new Ratchet & Clank game that will be exclusively on PS5. That's going to be coming on June 11th. It'll be $70, as is most PS5 exclusive games.
$70?
Yeah, that's the new standard for PS5 games.
Why?
That's the bad.
It's supposed to be $60. Wait a second.
Prices have... Dude, prices haven't gone up on games in years. So the fact that it's finally going up to 70 is like, man, I can't believe it took this long.
I'm going to Sony and I'm going to Riot.
I mean, we were like, I think I remember it going up from 50 to 60. I remember it when Brawl came out. When Smash Brothers Brawl came out, was probably about when. I feel like that's like the last game I remember buying for $50. But yeah, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, PS5 exclusive, coming out on June 11th.
Female Ratchet, let's go. I mean, what?
They still haven't announced what her name is yet. I think there was like a press release that seemed to hint that maybe her name is Rosie, or like maybe like something like that, like Rosy, or maybe Rosaria. Yeah. I don't know.
Is it weird that I kind of want to know who the VA for her would be then? Because I'm kind of curious. Because I never actually thought about it till now.
I don't think they've announced it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm excited for that game though.
In other release date news that's coming, news that came out today. So it was announced during the Epic Games Store showcase that the Kingdom Hearts series is finally coming to PC. And it will be an Epic Games Store exclusive, where you can get Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, 2.8, 3, and Melody of Memories, all on March 30th.
That last one's a weird number.
Is when they will be coming to the Epic Games Store. I think it's very cool that these games are finally coming to PC after all this time. It's really stupidly weird that these games are full price, though. Like, so 1.5 and 2.5 are going to be $50, 2.8 is $60, 3 is $60, and Melody of Memories is $60. I can understand Melody of Memories being $60 because that game, like, literally just came out last month, I think? Or, like, a couple of... maybe.
Did it? I thought it was November, actually.
Well, still, it's only been out for a couple of months. That's still a little bit understandable, but, like... 2.8, I think, in my opinion, is probably the most egregious one here. You're gonna charge $60 for Kingdom Hearts 2.8. That game is like maybe 3 hours long.
It's funny because it's literally like one of the mobile games or whatever, and then some cute weird side quest with Aqua, and then I think Dream Drop Distance is in there somewhere.
No,
but that's about it.
Dream Drop
right?
Distance, I believe, is in the 1.5 and 2.5.
Oh, are you okay? Because Dream Drop Distance was 3DS, right? Like originally. That's 3D.
Yes. That's the
Okay.
Dream Drop Distance.
Okay.
3D. Yeah.
God. Like, I mean, I know it's normal to see like fully priced games on like electronically, but I feel like I really honestly think they really need to tone like, and this is like all across the board. Like any game that comes out electronically should be priced a little bit lower than what their physical copies would be, because it kind of makes sense when you have a PS5 digital version and then a PS5 physical version, and there's very differing prices with those, you know. And I feel like a lot of it's like publisher stuff, but I don't know.
For the record, I want to correct myself. I was thinking of the 0.2, which is Kingdom Hearts 0.2. That is the one that's like 3 hours long. 2.8 is a little bit longer at about 17 hours to beat. Sorry about that. I want to correct myself before we get people being mad at me specifically. But still, these games are so much are so cheap on PS4 and Xbox now at this point.
I have them.
Like if you have a Xbox Live Gold membership, I was looking at the price on it, and like you could even get Melody of Memory, the newest one that has only been out for a couple of months, for like $40 off of the Xbox store. I understand that these are coming over to PC for the very first time in their entire existence, but $50, $60, $60, $60 is a lot for these old ass games.
I'm just excited to see, like, at the very least, like, it's such a Kingdom Hearts move to do, like, to be late to everything Kingdom Hearts 3 after 10 years.
100%. And to be a disappointing game on top of all that. Like,
I don't want to talk about it, because I really was looking forward to it, and...
Oh, Kingdom Hearts 3 is so bad. It's so bad. Like, it looks good.
It's not unplayable.
It looks good, but it plays like a PS2 game and has like so little story after 10. I'm gonna get frustrated if I keep talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. I was so upset by the way that by the time that game ended. I didn't even play the DLC, but I was like, why bother? The base game was garbage anyway. I don't want to. And other release date news about having to wait longer. Yeah, that's a segue. Both Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 will not be coming out in 2021. This was apparently from a Activision Blizzard earnings call, saying that the games will not be coming this year. Diablo 4 makes sense to me, but I'm really, really surprised that Overwatch 2 is not coming out this year, considering that the majority of that game is built on the Overwatch 1 engine. Like, literally, like, half of that game is it plays with Overwatch 1. It's multiplayer with Overwatch 1. That's half of the game.
There are, like, and there were reports, because, like, it's so important. Like, this Overwatch 2 is honestly, in my opinion, one of the more important titles to look at, especially for esports, because right now, Overwatch is kind of in this weird lull period, like the current Overwatch, and especially when it was like announced, right? Because we all expected to be like, oh, look, it's 2020. Now it's like, wait, 2020 what? Now it's 2022. Like, you know, and with the things that had happened in like a previous podcast where I talked about like how it's kind of dropped from a couple collegiate leagues. it's really weird because Overwatch 2 is kind of what is needed, I feel, to have the esports scene for Overwatch going. And
Mm.
I think, the ability to be able to actually have a story mode and play an improved version of that engine, but still playing together, and graphics, by the way, it's nice. And I think even delaying it more, they better have a good reason to delay it, basically. Like, they better make it really good because, we don't want a repeat of Cyberpunk 2077. And, this is one of those esports titles where, like, all eyes are on it. Like, at least in that world.
Right.
Like, that's to keep that fresh and alive, Like, it's been since 2016 since Overwatch came out, and now we're on year 5. And
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch for me already kind of died out like 2 to 3 years afterwards. So I can only imagine how people are feeling right now. And like, there hasn't been a new character since like middle of last year, I think.
I
So
believe that's when Echo came out. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, unlike Kingdom Hearts 3, Overwatch 2 better have a really good reason to be coming out next year at the very, or if it will,
I'm
like that's my thing.
I'm sure we'll be getting a lot more information about Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 because BlizzCon Online is supposed to be happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's supposed to be happening sometime this month, I believe.
Okay.
I can't think of what the date is off the top of my head, and I'm gonna keep on talking while I look this up.
Time and the space, because
and just stalling, and you stall, and stall, and you just stall. February 19th through the 20th. So.
That's close.
And it's a virtual event too, so because of COVID. So I'm sure we'll be getting a lot more information on both Overwatch 2, Diablo 4, probably Diablo Immortals also, or whatever the name of that mobile game that everybody hated and was like sending death threats to the Diablo team about. That actually, apparently, according to preview information, that game is actually pretty dang good. So weird.
All right.
Of course. And so now we got my last 2 news stories, both of which are bummers, but one of which seemed to be predictable. We'll go with the weird one first. So Warner Brothers has now secured a patent for the Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor Nemesis system. Are you guys familiar with the Nemesis system from Shadow of War?
I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
So
Actually.
the Nemesis system in Shadow of War, it takes place before the events of Lord of the Rings, where you play as a character and you're infiltrating Mordor. There are orcs that have like generated names, but the thing about them is about their AI programming is that they remember you and remember what you did to them. So you'll kill them or whatever, but they'll be brought back to life by somebody else, and they'll come and they'll find you later on. And it turns into this long-running thing of like, oh, this is my nemesis. This is like, and this is just like an AI-generated character. This isn't like a character that was like set from the story beginning to hate you or fight you or whatever. This is just a nemesis you made along the way. So IGN reports that the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office released an issue notice last week, although at the time of writing, the notice appears to be offline. According to IGN, the patent protects the, quote, Nemesis characters, Nemesis forts, social vendettas, and followers in computer games, end quote. This encompasses a hierarchy of procedurally generated NPCs that interact with and remember the player's actions. The patent also covers changes to the NPCs' positions in the hierarchy, as well as their appearance and behavior, again based on the actions of the player. Blah, blah, blah. Finally, it includes the social conquest battles from the 2017 sequel Shadow of War, which allowed players to use these NPCs to defend their own strongholds and attack those of other players. The patent will go into effect on February 23rd, and providing they continue paying the fees, could be maintained until 2035. So, when Shadow of War, or when Shadow of Mordor came out, by the way, that article was from GameIndustry.biz.
Okay.
Go support all their stuff. When the Nemesis system was introduced in Shadow of Mordor, initially, this was kind of seen as a groundbreaking new system that everybody was going to be copying over the next couple of years. Like, oh, every game is going to have a Nemesis system, and this is going to be the next big thing. But then it never really seemed that all of a sudden it seemed like, wait, why aren't we seeing more of the Nemesis system? And that's because Warner Brothers had filed a pending patent for the Nemesis system back then. And this is just really shitty. I think this is just a really shitty thing because when you patent gameplay things like this, it really stifles creativity and innovation within a marketplace, I think. And it's just really, really, it really sucks, I think.
Yeah. Oh well. I hope that doesn't I'm kind of really hoping it doesn't limit the creation of things, but oh well.
Yeah. And finally, as far as news goes on my section, I don't believe we covered this last week, but it was announced on February 1st that Google is shutting down its internal Stadia game studios. So for those that are familiar, there's Google Stadia, which is Google's gaming division, where what's the best way to describe what Stadia is? The business model is basically like you pay for a subscription, you have games that belong in the cloud, and you stream them to devices that have Google Chrome on them, basically. The problem with Google Stadia, and this seemed to be the writing on the wall for a long time, is that Stadia was not doing well. There's a lot of problems with the business model that they're going with. One of the big things is that to use it on a Chromecast, you have to have the specifically Google Stadia brand Chromecast. Stadia's been out for a couple of years now, and people don't want to pay for the Google Stadia Chromecast. They want to use whatever Chromecast they already own, but it still doesn't work on that. They finally got it so that it's now working on LG TVs, and even then, I don't think they've announced a release date as to when that is hitting exactly.
Yeah.
On top of that, their business model is that you have to pay a subscription to be able to use Stadia, but then you must purchase all of your games separately. They're unless you have the premium, there's a base tier subscription and then the premium subscription. The premium subscription comes with free games every month, all of which are older games. These aren't premium games. None of them are Stadia exclusive. They're games that we all have been playing on our Xboxes, PlayStations, PCs, Switches for years now. They get those games for free, but if you're not paying for that premium tier, you're paying for the basic tier, you have to purchase all of these games separately, and they are full price games. You don't and the fact of the matter is that these games are never downloaded to anywhere. They're being streamed to your device via the cloud. So if for whatever reason, let's say Samurai Showdown, Sam Show, that's one of the games that I think they were sharing at one point. If you were paying for the premium, I believe Sam Show was one of the games that you could get. Why anybody would want to play a fighting game with via cloud gaming is beyond me. That sounds like a terrible idea as far as latency goes. But if say Sam Show, you bought Sam Show and you were liking it and whatever, blah blah blah. If for whatever reason the people who make Samurai Showdown decided we don't want it on Google Stadia anymore and they took it off of their service, you don't have you don't have any downloaded version of Samurai Showdown. You might be out of that money. So that's another problem. And then the other big problem is Stadia has not done a good job of explaining exactly who their product is marketed for. Because the idea of Stadia is that this is for people who don't want to spend the money on a full-fledged gaming console or a gaming PC. Great. So basically you would think that the market that they have in mind are the people who play 1 or 2 games a year. Your annual Madden players, your annual Call of Duty players, your GTA players, right? But they don't have any of these games on their service. And like one of their big selling points is like, oh, it's got all the graphical fidelity of a gaming PC. So then you're saying that your market is somebody who cares about graphical fidelity of games, but doesn't care about it so much that they're willing to pay for a gaming PC. So it's just such a very very niche audience. And so basically, what this kind of sums up to is that don't have a big install base, and so they probably saw the writing on the wall that they can't continue to support an internal gaming studio when they know they're not going to make enough money back to even break even on the thing. So it really sucks. This basically leaves about 150 to 200 people. I'm not going to say out of jobs, because apparently, according to the statements that have been given, these people will probably be moved and consolidated into Google somewhere in different roles. But yeah, so that's what I know about that, about as far as Stadia goes.
I know that like when they were like announcing it and they were like the advertising for it, and I think the really weird part of it is that it was really great in concept. It was a cool idea. I was just like, wow. But for some reason, I just can't get over the fact that it seems like a joke.
I don't think it's a joke. I just think that there are better products on the market for it. The competitors offer such a better deal. Like when you think about NVIDIA GeForce, which will uses games that are already in your Steam library, or Project xCloud with Xbox, where it is literally part of your Game Pass Ultimate subscription for $15 a month, and you can just play any of the games that are available in there's just the competitors that are already in that field offer a comparable yet better package than what Google is trying to offer, and they just never they never committed to the product, and which is common for Google. Google has the tendency of starting projects that they think will be great, and then they get all invested in it. But then they, at the last second, they're like, you know what, this isn't working, and they shut it all down. And it's like, it'll happen within a year. And to be honest, Stadia lasted longer than I thought it was going to.
I will say, like, for what it is worth, I did expect them to be around as long as, I guess, the end of time. So it is still very surprising to me in that sense. And I was like, oh, I guess they're shutting down already, because Google usually never has a failed product, and when they do, we never hear about it.
I should probably clarify. I should probably clarify. Stadia is not ending as a service. They're not ending as a service, but they are not going to be making any first-party titles that will be exclusive to Google Stadia. All of the games that will be available through Stadia now are all third-party titles. That being said, this definitely seems like a big ol' red flag as far as what we can expect from the service. So if you've been considering getting into Google Stadia and you see this, I would say probably just don't bother with it. It seems like a bad investment of money, and just you could probably spend your money better if you are looking for a cloud-based video game service.
Yeah.
But
all right.
But that's all I got to say about that.
Respectable. But I think I guess we're good then.
Yeah.
Are we? I think we're good. I mean, time permitted.
Long episode.
Yeah. It was we're hitting that 3.5 hour mark. I guess I guess we have an announcement before we sign this off.
Yes, we do. If you have stayed with us this 3.5 hour journey, thank you so much. Want to give you a special announcement. If you are watching this live with us today on February 11th, we are going to be live streaming the Anime Awards and commentating on that, which is next Friday, February 19th. So you will be seeing us not on Thursday, but we will be joining you Friday, and we are going to be hopping on live stream here on Twitch at 6:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that is 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. Just want to make sure I break that all down for you, where
Mhm.
we're going to be giving our predictions for each category of the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. And then at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, when the show starts, we will be streaming that live for you and commentating and giving you all of our thoughts. So just wanted to give you that announcement. I hope that you join us. We're all very excited to
too.
be live streaming and hope we get to see you there.
Yeah. Um, Kyle, you have anything else you wanted to add? I guess.
No, I think we covered just about everything.
Boom,
Awesome.
boom, boom. Successful
Well,
episode.
very successful, and I mean it's just as successful as you guys. Just to kind of end this out, please, if you haven't done so, throw down a follow, throw down a subscribe onto our YouTube channel. So our Twitch is bits_n_pixels, n as in and, because we're funny. So throw down a follow if you haven't done so already. YouTube is bits and the ampersand pixels. It looks like a pretzel, so you'll know what you're looking for on all podcast platforms. So I believe what Apple, Spotify, sorry, yeah, iTunes, Spotify,
All
Apple.
yeah, all the
Yeah.
places, all the
Mhm.
popular places you can get your podcast from. That's where we be.
Yep, bits and pixels. Same thing like the YouTube. Go ahead and check those out. Twitter and Instagram. Add us at BITSNPIXELS at Gmail. No, I was kidding.
You want me to do it?
Oh God, no. That's the email. But Twitter and Instagram, please add us at Bits and Pixels Pod, BITSNPIXELSPOD, and email if you would like to do the honors.
BITSANDPIXS@gmail.com @gmail.com.
We're gonna think of a theme for that, but thank you.
That's the theme right there.
Yeah. No, I meant like a piano thing, like the full lyrical. Like we're gonna go all in. We're gonna make a 3-hour, a 3-minute like mix with DJ Khaled.
Lo-fi.
Thank you very
Yes.
much, ladies and gentlemen. Please again follow us on all wonderful platforms and media outlets, and also send us an email when you can if you have any other questions. We have a few new segments and obviously the awards to show you in the next podcast. So again, thank you very much for just chilling out with us for this wonderful 3.5-hour journey. It's of magical fun times and goodness galore. I am one
Always.
of 3 hosts, Carlo de Los Angeles, your boy Pinoy. Anyone wants to follow up with their name,
What's my name? No, and I'm Brianna Fox Priest.
And I'm Kyle Viveris.
Thank you very much, and you guys have a good rest of